Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, to the APS Cup Series, brought to you live by the Elite Racing Network. I'm accompanied by Dave Westergreen. David, what do you think is going to happen tonight as we go around New Hampshire?
I think this is our first race in the second round of the playoffs. We're going to begin the countdown to the championship race. Only 4 races remaining to decide our Joint APS Cup Series championship for Elite Racing. We've got a 9-driver field that looks absolutely stacked. Gerald Campbell winning last week locked him into this round, and that was a win in a race he was like must win to get into this round, and Gerald is going to be going for another win this week. I think you got Josh Adams, Tyler Fodey, Brian Gavel, David Tooker, and Chuck Sweeting, Chad Frankenfield, as you see right here. Everyone donning their patriotic schemes this week for Memorial Day, and they're going to rip them around New Hampshire, 150 laps to decide it. We don't have Ryan Lutz this week, and he's the general preemptive favorite at New Hampshire, which to me opens it up for the field. I think a lot of surprising candidates, including this car right here. Actually, Damian Leininger could totally be in the running for this one. It may be tough for a chaser to take this one home and lock themselves into that final race.
Yeah, a lot of fast guys I see out here that run other series within the Elite Racing League. A lot of the names I see in the Cup Series, the Truck Series. A few of the guys also run Xfinity, so a lot of the same fast guys. Going to be interesting to see how this tight and slippery track in New Hampshire turns out. Even watching qualifying and open practice earlier, a lot of cars getting loose and kind of doing their best to hold on to it here. So not sure if it's going to be a caution fest or if the track's going to tighten up a little bit as drivers get their runs on, but curious to see how it's going to play out tonight.
One thing I know about the Elite Racing League from having run races at New Hampshire before, as well as run, um, races in the looser race car, is that what's going to happen is these guys are going to take it easy for a big chunk of that first part of the race. Feel out the car, understand what it's going to do since it's so loose, and then they're going to get their grip out from under them. Someone's going to wreck under green flag pit stops, and then all hell's going to break loose. We'll have a couple of big incidents at the end of the race, a couple of late restarts, and it'll be all about who can get through all that cleanly to take home the checkered flag tonight. So we've got, I think, 4 or 5 chasers in a row lining up the front 5 right now through qualifying. Tyler Fodey told me this week he was looking to have a good run today. He wants to take this 40 car directly into the championship race. So we'll see if Tyler Fodey can do it. He's one of those favorites for that championship.
Yeah, a lot of really fast guys out here. I'm really hoping for some good green flag runs throughout the night. And like you said earlier, definitely expecting more than one spectacular crash from our drivers out here today.
Hank Steinmiller, disappointing end to Hank's championship run last week. He sure had an opportunity to get there at the end. It got crashed out while running in the top 5 at Talladega. And just an unfortunate circumstance of Talladega being a notorious beast. But Hank's going to go for another win here, and I wouldn't put it past him to have a car fast enough at this loose racetrack to make some noise.
All right, we're going to pull up our race information here, but you were telling me earlier this is also our current chase breakdown as well. Drivers that are still in the chase as we go around here at New Hampshire Motor Speedway.
I wouldn't sleep on Jared Rexing and Chuck Sweeting down there either. I know I didn't mention them right off the bat, but those two guys are sneaky fast everywhere we go, and Rexing tends to like these flat tracks. I know he's won at Gateway in the last JoinAPS Cup Series season. So if anybody can kind of sneak a win in here and get themselves into the Final Four, that'd be maybe Jared Rexing. And Chuck Sweeting's always one to watch. Just he's going to go out and do some crazy strategy. Here's the starting lineup for the race. Tyler Fodey, Jared Rexing on the front row. Rexing showing that speed, and 5 chasers in through the first 6 spots. In fact, 7 chasers through the first 8 spots. Ethan Burrell, the only non-chaser there. And in fact, Chuck Sweeting, Josh Adams, and Gerald Campbell. All your chasers are on the screen right here. They are bringing out their A game here at New Hampshire.
Yeah, a lot of really fast guys. Some guys I usually expect to see up front that are kind of lagging behind here. Jeff Green in 13th. Steinmiller starting 17th tonight. Alec Baldwin's in 20th. Dustin Dewar. I mean, these are guys that have run really fast every week in different league races. Vincent Isabella scored a huge finish in the Truck Series last night. and he's 22nd starting tonight. So a lot of guys I expect to see up front that just aren't there yet, but with a really busy field, we're going to expect really good racing, I think, from start to finish tonight.
I think so too. We're gonna have to watch some of these guys coming up through the field. You got Colin Fern, Andrew Rucker, Jeff Green all in the middle of the pack. You might want to watch out for those guys moving towards the front as we go tonight.
Yeah, and every week that's kind of one of those most dangerous things you can see is fast guys that aren't up front early. Those are the guys that have the pace and are going to do whatever they can to get up there as quick as they can, and that can be very, very exciting for guys that aren't quite carrying the same pace as those aliens out here. So hopefully they can get around cleanly in these first few laps, see where the dust settles before they start charging up to the front.
A race at Milwaukee earlier this year that was Milwaukee's a bit of a sister track to New Hampshire, but these guys really just did not get through there well at all. I think we had like 19 cautions or something. I mean, Rish and I were kind of furious in the booth that with the way the guys were driving, and I think the races have kind of cooled down a little bit this year. I mean, last night in the Xfinity, the Home Place Xfinity Series, or SMRA Xfinity Series at Bristol, we ran 108 straight clean laps with this series with a lot of these same drivers. Tyler Fodey took home that win, and he seems to be on an absolute tear in the Xfinity Series, and that might be building momentum for him in the Cup Series as he also wins the pole for this race.
We're getting ready to shake down, David. 150 laps here in New Hampshire. Do you have any favorite picks based on your experience broadcasting this Cup Series?
I mean, like I've been talking about Tyler Fodey a lot. Him and Ryan Gavel both are going to be good here. But if I have to go with like a favorite driver, I think it might be Jared Rexing. He's really good on these short mile tracks, and he's got some extra incentive if he can go ahead and lock himself into the chase or the final round with a win. Rexing might be over-aggressive in trying to do that today.
That's what I'm going to be keeping an eye on 11, Matthew Weeks machine. Definitely somebody that I've seen aggressively move towards the front, but we are green and ready to go here in New Hampshire.
Yep. Right, Tyler Fodey out to the early lead, and I am not surprised by that in the slightest. Fodey very, very fast on these restarts, very good at them, and Lake Norman Motorsports lining up 1, 2, 3 down on the bottom as Leininger tries to take third from Rexing.
That is a stacked field from start to back. That massive field covers an entire straightaway, but right now it's the Tyler Fodey show. Gavel's going to try and keep him with an eyesight, but we also got Damian Leninger and Jared Rexing still going side by side, trying to figure out where they're going to get sorted out in this opening lap. Rexing
takes it over from Leininger, so a bit of a surprise there, and I know Fodey's definitely trying to save up his tires a little bit here, and that's kind of opening the door for Ryan Gavel. Gavel has had a lot of success this season, but hasn't been able to capitalize with a race win. He sure would like to get one right now and lock himself into that Final Four. Remember, the race winner, that will be the, they will be locked into the championship race. They will be one of the championship 4 if they're a playoff driver. Gavel getting a little bit loose, I believe, out of 4 as he's trying to get right next to Fodey. Kind of gauging each other out, seeing how far they can push in these opening laps without burning up tires. See what they can get away with. I can see as much, I think, teamwork and draft passing here tonight as we would at Super Speedway. It's going to be bumper to bumper, pretty tight action all the way through. Tough to pass with these guys getting those loose race cars, especially with new tires. And once these tires wear a little bit, you'll see a few more mistakes, a little bit of overdriving, and then some of these guys will start coming to the front that saved their tires, and some of them are going to start dropping to the back. Yeah, I agree, David. The worst thing you can do on these opening laps is burn out that front right tire and start kind of plowing through the corners and start going deeper than you want to and then going out wider. So, yeah, that's when you start making mistakes, especially when you're 2x2 and trying to make a pass. The worst thing you can do is try and shove it down low in front of somebody and not be able to make it stick. But so far, guys still carrying really good slip angle all the way around and hanging out a little bit, so they've still got the tires probably going to fall off around lap 15, 20. What do you think? Yeah, the tires are already starting to wear. You can see the gaps being pushed out. I think Damian Leininger was really struggling last night with wearing out his right front tire. I'd keep an eye on the 12 car to maybe move back a little bit. Today, if he starts to fall, you know that he's still struggling with that same wearing of the right front tire. Ryan Gavel might be the only one I'm seeing that's actually pushing and threatening for position so far. Gavel looks really quick, but that one car can't seem to get up off the corner as well as his teammate Tyler Fodey, and Fodey continues to lead early. There's our first option of the day. Andrew Rucker takes it for a ride. Let's see if we can grab a replay on that one.
I'm interested. He was running close with Hank Steinmiller there, and it looks like Jeff Green, Rucker, Colin Fern, all three of those guys pretty hyper aggressive,
Yeah, Rucker in that
known for
64
running hard.
Rucker in that 64 tries to make that bottom line work. I think the rear end is going to step out on him here.
Yeah, everyone was giving Rucker a little bit of heat in the chat for missing last night's race when we had an 100-lap green flag run. And there's Rucker bouncing it off of Colin Fern, turning it sideways. We'll see if the 64 keeps it off the wall here.
Oh,
Not where
no,
you want to
Rucker.
be sliding to.
No, Rucker.
And
just
all over
drills the
Rucker.
pit lane entrance. That might be his night right there, my friend. That engine may be smoked.
Pretty big hit there, I think, for the Andrew Rucker machine. And that'll be it for the day. I know Rucker tends to not prefer to run the races. He doesn't, or run the race fully through if that car gets damaged. He likes
that early on was such heavy damage. I mean, even if he is able to limp it back in the pits and get those required repairs done, that looks like an easy 30-40 lap crash minimum for repairs to make.
Yeah, you never know too. You might run into a spot where that damage kind of net coated him through the barrels a little bit, and it may have been less than we think, but he's still out there, he's still running, so we'll see. As long as he's out there, he may be able to make his way back up to the front, especially if this race ends up like Milwaukee was earlier this year. I mean, there were 19 cautions in that race. Oh. Everyone in the field had damage. Perseverance was certainly a good thing to have in that race, because a lot of guys ended up with pretty decent finishes because there were so many crashes.
Yeah, a surprising amount of cars came into pits on that one as well. I see probably 8 or 9 drivers actually came in and boxed that lap that weren't involved in an incident. So they might be coming in and try something different or try and get on a different fuel strategy as the rest of the pack.
If we do get that long green flag run, which I guess with the condition of these race cars, we may not get a full fuel run, which is probably almost the length of the entire race if you go for the full length of the fuel run, because these guys can probably run about 100, 120 laps on one single tank of fuel. They're probably considering making this a one-stop race, especially the likes of Tyler Fodey, Ryan Gavel, Jared Rexing, and Damian Leininger.
Yeah, well, those guys in that top 5, they want to avoid all the carnage that might be happening behind them, so they will do absolutely everything in their power to stay up here, keep that track position, and only come in when they absolutely have to.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. One of the guys who did go to the back was Colin Fern, and we saw him kind of throwing it in a little bit there at Milwaukee and causing some of those incidents. You got to be careful when you get back in the pack, because at a track like this, if you go and drive it in too hard, you're going to cause a crash.
Yeah, you don't want to make too many enemies this early on in a very long race where you're going to be side by side for most of the time. So hopefully these guys are going to stretch it out single file for a little bit and be friendly. But pace car is in, and Fodey gets a massive launch.
Tyler Fodey's going to get that all day long. He wants to lead this thing from start to finish. Teammates now side by side for second. Leininger and Gavel trying to sort out who can ride behind their teammate best. Behind them, it's pretty much the same cast of characters that we've been looking at all day so far. Chuck Sweeting, though, maybe the best restart of anybody in the middle of the pack. He's up 2 spots into 7th.
Yeah, it looks like the guys are pretty content to get single file as quickly as they can and click off some laps here in New Hampshire, but I think we're going to still see a few of the guys pressing the issue. Looks like...
Rexing.
Yeah, Ethan Burrell moving up a spot as well, diving down the inside.
Rexing jumps up underneath Gavel, trying to take over 3rd. That's not going to work. And Burrell did cut forward around Chad Frankenfield, though I think he was just defending his spot from the restart. So Ethan Burrell into 5th. Burrell and Leininger, the only drivers in this top 7 or 8 that are not involved in the playoffs.
We're on board with Burrell as Frankenfield dives up the inside of him, and just behind Burrell, Sweeting trying to get his nose in the mix as well. He wants a piece of that machine.
Sweeting tossing in a very strong run, qualifying run. once the playoffs have gotten serious, it seems like Chuck Sweeting has too. I know Chuck tends to like to, just start in the back, work his way to the front, let the chips fall where they may. And sometimes that works out for him, sometimes not. But Chuck starting up this high tells me that Chuck's starting to get real serious about this championship. He's got the speed. He's got a potential for a win. I think Chuck can absolutely get it done here today.
Yeah, Sweeting, a great guy to call in pretty much every race series here at the Elite Racing League. He's one of those kind of drivers you expect to see in the top 5, top 10 week in and week out when bad luck doesn't rear its ugly head, at least.
And he's a pleasure to race on track too. He's always courteous, and he'll work with you to find a good way around. Doesn't hold you up or anything. He's a very courteous racer, and I always find myself wanting to run around a guy like Chuck Sweeting. Josh Adams, our regular season champion, trying to go after David Tooker, who's a little bit sideways there exiting the corner. Adams has moved up a couple of spots. Matthew Weeks has been dropping back throughout this restart.
Yeah, that's a little bit odd to see from Weeks. Normally he's a good short track racer. You always see him out there bumping and grinding and making moves. I hate to see that for Weeks, but Burrell kind of getting shuffled back. He's down 3 spots while Sweeting is up 3 so far. So some of these guys still have a little bit of problems coming to grips with this track and driving style, I think.
We even scroll a little further back. Colin Vernon's on the move. He is up to 15th, I believe, in that 86 car, and that's the first car on fresh tires after all these guys stayed out in front of him. Vern becoming that only one to make that call to jump to pit road, and I would have expected him to maybe move it up slower than this. He seems to be really reeling in a lot of the leaders here.
Yeah, I'm watching Ryan Gavel as well. He's starting to get his nose in there, getting a little bit sideways to this corner as the number 10 of Jared Rexing looks at the inside of him, but he was about to make a move on Linenger before he kind of lost the drive and put more traction sideways than he did forward. But these guys doing their best to hold on to these cars around the slippery racetrack.
It's going to be tough for passes to be made. You see Jared Rexing going after Ryan Gavel, who's kind of going after Damian Leininger, and nothing is sorted out. Everybody's still where they were before the pass attempts were made. Just all over the place a little bit right now. That one car does not look happy and into the racetrack.
No, it is sliding a little bit. I'm not sure if he's overdriving or what's going on, but he is on the very ragged edge of traction all the way around here in New Hampshire. As Jared Lexing's trying to get closer and closer, but also Lexing doesn't want to get involved in any shenanigans if Gavel suddenly loses control of that number 1 speed.
It's the trust factor of these guys. These guys race together, and like you said, all these series. Rexing maybe less so. Rexing's more of a cup-only guy. Gavel too, but Leininger, Chad Frankenfield. I mean, these guys have raced together for a couple of years now, and Gavel keeps getting it sideways. If you're Rexing, I mean, you are a little concerned with this one car that it's a little bit too loose for your liking.
Yeah, that's a scary place to be for Rexing. There we go. Rexing's going to sit it up the inside. He's going to try to make quick work with number 1 machine. He wants no around all that guy's sideways every lap. Looks like Gavel's going to kind of give it to him uncontested.
Yeah, good move by Ryan Gavel too. He's trying not to lose time for both of them there, but Gavel definitely struggling the most out of everyone in this front pack with the way that car is gripping. See Rexing just kind of drives away from him, gaps Gavel down the straightaway. 10 car definitely looks to be strong right now. He may be able to get after Damian Leininger and then his teammate Tyler Fodey for the race lead here if these Slick Norman cars aren't careful.
Yeah, right now Fodey's checking out. He's got almost a second gap between him and Rexing at the moment, but Rexing is a man on a mission as he's reeling in Leininger, trying to get a piece of him. He's got the car right now.
Loving these patriotic schemes too. Michael Goodman was the driver going around trying to go ahead and get some paints in for these guys. I think he painted this 12 car, painted Tyler Fodey's number 40. A lot of those do-good cars back in the pack. Dusty Dewar, Scott Haney. We'll have to get a shot at this car. It's actually really beautiful. And at some point here, when we're not battling for second, Jared Rexing going after Damian Leininger. I think Leininger's going to give it to him here probably pretty soon. Yep, 12 car slide with the track.
Rexing takes that nose in there, and he just secure the number 2 spot as they go down the start-finish line straight.
Rexing will probably throw it in deep here and slide up in front of Leininger, and that's exactly what he does. Doesn't slide up though, keeps the tires underneath that 10 car. He's been able to run lower than everyone. Yeah, I'm loving it for sure. These guys are kind of working with each other, trying to keep each other from losing a lot of time. Although Gavel not really giving Chad Frankenfield much room.
No, he's coming in hot.
Rexing's car is working the bottom better than I think anybody else on track right now. He is a lot lower than a lot of these other guys are running the top. You see how high up Gavel's getting, and that's not where you want to be. You see Gavel losing 2 spots here, one to Chad and one to Chuck Sweeting. Rexing's definitely the lowest on the track, and that might be the way to go. If you can run the lowest, you might be the fastest.
Yeah, because Frankenfield and Sweet are pretty much glued to that bottom lane. So they're not stepping out a whole lot. Right, and at commentator's curves, Chad steps out just a little bit, 15 machine, but that might be the best source of traction right now for these tough cars.
Tough when you've got this the higher horsepower package, lower downforce. These guys are able to kind of use the car a little bit, and they're forced to drive it. I love a lot more horsepower. It really shows you who the drivers are, and the one that I'm watching that we might need to jump back and look at is Colin Fern. He is up to 9th with those fresh tires. He is really coming forward and trying to show us why pitting on that first caution was definitely the play.
Yeah, Fern in the 86 machine, he's up 7 spots so far, so he hit lap 7, so I mean the tires are 18 laps old, but that's way better than the 25 lap tires that he's kind of breezing right now.
86 car looks pretty fast. He's got knocked out of the chase with a couple of poor accidents that they were not of his own making at Texas and Talladega. Knocked this 86 car from the chase, and you know he was a little bit upset, but who wouldn't be when stuff that was out of your way was stuff that was out of your control is what knocks you out of the playoffs. And Fern's out here just looking for race wins. This is Brandon Brown's spotter in the Xfinity Series. Fern's been racing with us for about a year. He's made some enemies. He's driven like a self-proclaimed jerk, but he has also won races and been really competitive, and I think of late is certainly starting to make more friends as we go along.
Yep, yellow flag is out. I believe that's Vincent Isabella off track.
Vincent doesn't like the car on the extremes. He doesn't love it too loose. He doesn't love it too tight. Yeah, we're looking at Fern here.
Not sure why I put this there. There we go.
There it is.
Yeah, Isabella gets loose, breaks down, locks up the inside, does everything right, just kind of gets out of the racing line. So good on Isabella for having the know-how to stay out of the racing line when things aren't going his way. So good for Vincent. Vincent and Isabella, in the truck series at least, a very, very good long-run driver. Isabella, the longer a race goes green, the more you see him coming up here. But I believe he's more of a truck driver than a cup driver. I may be wrong on that one.
He's in and out. He has his moments on every series, and I think he's been working a lot in getting that truck success up. That scheme that today also really, really gorgeous. Another one painted by Michael Goodman, who really went out of his way to get everybody in these patriotic paint schemes.
Yeah, a little bit of accordion action happening on pit lane as some guys are checking up and bumping everybody around, but everybody, for the most part, except Gerald Campbell and Jeff Green are going to come in this cycle. Those two are going to stay out. And Colin Ferns, I believe, also stayed out.
Yeah, Fern at least makes some sense. He wants to pick up that track position, though. I mean, after marching through the field on 8-lap fresher tires, now there's about 20 laps on his tires. He's going to get marched swiftly to the back, I believe. And he might have taken 2 tires, though. I don't know if he came down pit road or not. He was certainly behind Gerald Campbell, or ahead of Gerald Campbell on the pit stop there.
And while we have a yellow flag here, I'd like to give a thanks to APS, JoinAPS. They offer a complete solution for all types of businesses that need to process credit card-related transactions. Their industry-specific solutions provide the best options for your business model. They've got experienced client service representatives who understand what your processing needs are. So big thanks to the guys over at JoinAPS.com for sponsoring the Cup Series here at Elite Racing League. We greatly appreciate it.
APS has been providing us with service for a couple of years now, sponsoring the series, and they're doing a great job as always. I gotta think this move by Gerald Campbell is to go ahead and pick up that bonus point for leading a lap. Gerald is not known for his longer run speed. generally. He seems to be a shorter run driver, and especially coming off the wave of momentum after winning Talladega, I think he'd want to run a clean race along with the leaders, finish it up as wherever he can, and move on. Gerald seemed a little unconfident about New Hampshire, but a lot more confident about his mile-and-a-half prowess in our interview last week with the race winner.
So on this restart, we're going to have Campbell on green on 30-lap old tires, followed by Colin Fern. He's on about 23 old lap tires. So what's going to be very exciting, I think, is you're going to have 3 guys with varying paces surrounded by a swarm of angry racers behind them with fresh tires ready to just hammer down here.
This might be where we see a rash of yellow flags. Whenever guys stay out on old tires, it just seems to build into cautions, and oftentimes it's not even these guys on the older tires, it's the guys on fresh tires behind them jumping all over each other, trying to pick up spots. You have to watch out for these guys in the back, and especially all these chasers that are kind of following in line behind Gerald Campbell.
There's going to be no mercy here on the restart. We're going to come around the backstretch one more time before that pace car dips in. Then it's more action here in New Hampshire Speedway.
Yep, we'll see if anything happens on this restart. I anticipate this is easily going to be the most chaotic restart of the day.
Yeah, I'm 100% with you there. Something spectacular is going to happen. It's going to be right about here, about 2 quarters, I believe.
Kind of jump Gerald gets on the older tires. Tyler Fodey, the first car on fresh tires, in 4th place in the 40 car.
And we know Fodey's been getting spectacular launches all day, but it looks like Campbell's going to stack the field, and he is away the 31 machine.
Gerald held that one back a little bit, kind of brought him down slow. Frankenfield, the one trying to make the biggest move on the inside. Rexing, no, now it's Rexing, and Frankenfield bashes off of Fodey.
Oh, boy, this is tight racing. Yeah, the number 10 of Jared Rexing pushing really, really hard, really, really aggressive. He's trying to get around these guys with old tires as quick as he can as he dives up the inside of Fern. He's going to try and go for the 2-for-1 in one corner as he gets next to Campbell going around the straightaway.
We just saw something interesting there. If there's a late caution, it takes a couple of laps for fresh tires to really get an advantage. Rexing took him a full lap to get around Gerald Campbell, but I think Campbell's going to be able to hold on to his track position at least for a little bit. Jeff Green was the only one who really fell back immediately on this restart. It seems like Tyler Fodey's having trouble with even getting around him. I wonder if he's got damage from that contact with Chad Frankenfield.
Man, that is a stacked field with those 2 drivers on older tires kind of stacking them up behind them. They're going to take a little bit of look and going 3 wide here.
Frankenfield again with an aggressive move, and to me that's a bit questionable from one of our chasers. Why is he trying to throw it 3 wide on when he's run into that same problem?
There they go, there they
get
go!
Together.
One goes around.
Ooh, man, if no one hits Ryan Gavel, it's gonna be a miracle.
Oh no!
Let's see if anyone clobbered the 1 car. I think he's gonna be all right. A miracle self-spin by Ryan Gavel, though. I think he had some help from the 15, who was just throwing it in way too deep in those 3 wide situations this early in the race.
Yeah, we're gonna see if we can get a good replay here.
It might not have been. Gavel was really loose throughout that first run.
Gavel
This actually
has
is a good
the
run.
speed. Great run, nowhere to put it.
It's going to be Chad Frankenfield coming up right into him there.
Yeah,
Bam.
Frankenfield gives him a love tap. Gavel does his best to hold on to it. And somehow the Moses Sea of Cup cars splits as 37 takes the ride of his life avoiding that.
Great job by Ethan Burrell to get through there. There's Andrew Rucker looking awfully clean. I think that 64 car might be fairly unhurt. You see all the damage to the left front of Gavel's car. That's all from Chad Frankenfield. Watch these guys stream around him here. Great job by these Elite Racing League drivers.
Yeah, that could have went so much worse as far as crashes go, especially at a small track like this at New Hampshire. Yeah, he escapes it relatively unharmed. I mean, he's got a little bit of that left side aero damage, but he might be able to take it in the pits, get that fixed real quickly so it doesn't cut a tire. But for the most part, I think it's as clean as you can get crashing in the middle of the field.
Ryan Gavel is extremely fortunate that no one clobbered into him there. He has had some run-ins with Chad Frankenfield specifically recently. I mean, at Texas, Chad just drove up behind him and dumped him. Here he comes off the corner and hangs a right and spins him out. So You know, that's two incidents in 3 races for poor Ryan Gavel, and at some point, you know, you got to wonder. But I think they are going to give the 15 car an EOL for this one. We'd have to check with the stewards there, but it doesn't look like Chad's in the top 5 anymore. Looks like he might have gotten sent to the back.
Yeah, I show him in P28 down 21 spots for getting into old Gavel. Poor Gavel. Maybe he's got a chance to try and tighten that car up while he's in the pits and try and make something happen. He's been struggling all day to make it around that corner without breaking free.
Yeah, I mean, he was making that outside line work pretty well. So I was, you know, he was getting a run off the corner there and drove his line and got come up into. So I think that's a good call by the stewards, and maybe maybe a little bit too late for poor Ryan Gavel. With that, do we want to introduce Rachel Kosla to the broadcast again?
Yeah, we'll bring him right up here.
There he is.
Join us in the booth. We've got the world famous Reshop. What's going on, sir?
Not sure about world famous, but yeah, happy to join you guys here. Looking forward to watching the race here. Sorry I'm joining you guys so late, but under caution here so far. Looks like, yeah, number 10, Jared Rexing leading the way.
Yeah, it's been definitely an exciting one here tonight. Rexing's been able to kind of bring it back up front. We just had Frankenfield awarded an EOL for spinning Gavel, so it's an exciting one here in New Hampshire.
Yeah, not the first time those two have come together, is it? With Texas a couple weeks back, so yeah, definitely some history there between those two, so we'll see how that plays out. But yeah, looking forward to seeing this. Looks like we're getting ready to go back to green here.
Colin Fern on 23 lap old tires, and when I saw this through the field, Gerald Campbell did come down pit road and put on tires, so his tires will be about 7 laps fresher than everyone else around him. And then other cars that I think have pitted here are Gavel, that we'll have to watch him, and then Chad Frankenfield obviously come through the field. That was the problem at Milwaukee, was once guys ended up in the back, they came flying through, and that's kind of what caused all those issues. Getting ready to go back green here, Jared Rexing, Tyler Fodey, and this will be the first time that Rexing has had the lead on restart.
So Rexing then taking it down. It's turn 1, that advantage you get as the pole sitter, and Tyler Fodey then hanging on, trying to stay there in front of, can't quite see who that is right behind him.
Damien Leininger, 12 car.
Damien Leininger, there you go. And Colin Fern, though, almost had himself to the inside of Tyler Fodey, but wasn't quite able to get there. This outside lane seems to launch pretty well here. I was kind of, you know, interesting to see there as Colin Fern not quite able to capitalize on the advantage that Jared Rexing got off the restart.
Fern's tires are also older, and Andrew Rucker with an incredible comeback. He was the source of our first caution. He nosed it into the barrels. You see the damage on the left front of the car. He's back up here in the top 10, fighting for a spot, just like everybody else here. So a good comeback for Andrew Rucker.
Yeah, really impressive run there. I think that's Ethan Burrell. They're taking guys 3 wide here, heading into turn 3.
I think Ethan's backing out of it, honestly. I think Ethan might even be letting some spots go there, trying to kind of back up and let this race play out. Matthew Weeks coming back up. Josh Clark bounced it off the wall. Almost a disaster going down the front straightaway.
Yeah, very cool. Oh, here we go. Colin Fern almost goes up a little bit there into Hank Steinmiller. They keep it nice. He might have spin that camera angle there, but yeah, those two keep it nice and tidy between the two. But yeah, chaos in the back there. You can see guys shuffling for position. And guys right now just shuffling to get by Colin Fern. This 23-lap old tire strategy is not working out for this 86 car right now. I think he was probably hoping for a pretty quick caution here after this. Right now, kind of suffering.
The commentator's curse, my friends.
Oh,
big one. Let me get you the replay here, but we've got Frankenfield involved, Town and Cross involved, Brent Jones all involved in this crash. Let's see if we can get it for you.
Just say I'm very not surprised that Frankenfield got caught up in something coming back through the field. We did mention that was kind of the issue at Milwaukee. It's the same thing, just making those aggressive moves and side by side with Vincent Isabella. Not sure what all could have caused this. It looks pretty tame so far. Looks like maybe a little bit of net code, honestly.
Yeah, 15 hit on the slide job. Isabella nowhere to go, and then carnage ensues behind him on that replay.
Yeah, it looks like I'm trying to see if there was anybody else involved in that incident. Looks like it might have just been Chad Frankenfield.
Might have had another crash in the back. trying to avoid it. Yeah, they're doing their best to avoid it up here.
Ooh.
Oh, right there,
Oh,
Zishan got
no.
sideways. Oh, Brent Jones with a great job stopping in front. Looks like only a little bit of damage for Harrison.
Yeah, Gerald Campbell as well makes it through there relatively cleanly. Important for him. He is kind of mired a little bit further back right now, but important for him to keep that nose on that car, obviously winning his way in last week at Talladega.
So there's the caution Colin Fern needed to get back on strategy with the rest of the leaders, though I think now he'll be on a different cycle again, just a fresher tire cycle.
Yeah, that's going to be advantageous for Colin Fern. If he can make the moves, and we know how aggressive he can be, the question is, can he make sure those moves are clean, moving back up through the field on those fresher tires?
Well, there's going to be a bunch of those guys back in the field that are going to be coming up on fresh tires again. So it is reminiscent of Milwaukee at this point. 4 early cautions, and so far a lot of those cautions may be avoidable wrecks that are just kind of caused by these guys with fresh tires getting up racing with guys with older tires. I don't know if it's going to stop.
Yeah, generally it is interesting, these kinds of tracks, because you'd hope that a mile track like Milwaukee, like New Hampshire here, would be big enough where you kind of have some separation, but not quite seeing that here. And we have these quick cautions that keep coming out, similar to what we get at the very short track. So kind of frustrating for sure from the commentator's side. But yeah, the kind of question is, at what point do you get to, does it have to be all the way up to those 1.5 mile proper intermediate tracks before you really get to the point where you're saying, all right, we're not going to be crashing out every 10, 15 laps?
Yeah, I'm waiting for it. They were doing a pretty decent job on that first run. Made it about 20 laps or so before. Actually, it was 8 laps. Then we had about a 20-lap run there before a second crash, and then it's been a bit of a rash of yellows here, all back to back. So for now, I'm mostly interested in seeing what some of these guys that are in the back end of the top 10 are going to be able to do. Michael Goodman up into 9th, Alec Balvance into 10th. These guys staying out with those around them and in front of them coming in for tires. Like the first car on tires is going to be Matthew Weeks.
Yeah, it's going to be big there if for Matthew Weeks, if he can get any kind of advantage, whatever he can kind of work with there. We'll see. Again, this is where these cautions start changing things up on tire strategy, and for us up here in the booth, it gets kind of hard to follow because guys are pitting in every other caution, different things like that, just trying to get whatever advantage they can. Remember, though, they all do have a certain number of tire sets that they're limited to, so you do have to obviously be cautious of that as well.
Right, but I don't know. There's only 100 laps left, and if we do happen to get that long green flag run, I think we'll be okay on tires.
Yes, sir. Well, Jared Rexing once again will lead the field back to green, and a nice early jump once again. This time it's Damian Leininger on the inside line trying to get past teammate Tyler Fodey. He's not quite going to get there, and Fodey's going to come down as, Leininger almost goes up into Chuck Sweeting in the 4th position.
That inside line just rips up a little bit, and that camera view is just, it looks like there's contact.
Me out, yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's the second time that camera view has caught me out there as, almost called contact there between the 12 and the 75, and it looks like coming off the corner they were all right. Seemed to be fairly okay here, but still side by side there, battling for the 3rd position. I think Damian Leininger has now finally cleared Chuck Sweeting.
Yep, so Jared Rexing, Tyler Fodey, Damian Leininger, and then Chuck. 3 guys in the playoffs, and then Damian Leininger there kind of helping his teammate. 3 wide in the back of the field. I think that was Michael Goodman and Jeff Green, all 3 wide in that group. Ryan Gavel cleared through them, so move Gavel back up into the top 10. He's certainly one looking to rebound after the early spin. Goodman falling back, those old tires not helping the 44 car.
We got a yellow flag out, Jim. It looks like Scott Haney went for a ride. We try and get a camera on that.
Not the way I wanted to show you guys Scott Haney's paint scheme. This is a gorgeous paint scheme that Michael Goodman put together, but I was really hoping Scott would be able to put together a good run today. No, looks like that's not his fault at all.
Yeah, that was Josh Personette, I think, going in a little bit deep, got a little bit high, I think, entering turn 3, and very close there for, I think that was Zishan Dura trying to slide on by.
Not very impressive last week at Talladega, was nearly the race winner, ended up pushing Gerald Campbell to the race win. Not that kind of luck here this week. now, though, these cautions coming out quickly, and that one I think maybe a not super avoidable, but like, you know, that we aren't giving each other enough room on these flat tracks.
I can't quite figure it out exactly why this happens, because it is, I mean, we're talking, to me at least, it feels like a pretty minor difference going from, you know, a 1 mile to, you know, 1.25 or a 1.5 mile generally. But I think you're right. It is the flat nature of the racetrack where you don't have the banking to kind of help you stick to the bottom lane. You can very easily glide up, and I think that's probably what caused a lot of issues for guys here.
This track is difficult. It's notoriously difficult. We've got it slick with loose race cars, 750 horsepower. There's going to be incidents. We know that. We just gotta take care of each other on track. You know, it's the kind of thing where we can run with these cautions late in the race when we're all pushing hard. We don't need to push hard here at lap 50.
Oh, absolutely not. Yeah, there's still a long way to go for these guys. Going to be important to just make sure your car is clean. Generally, as it has always been the way it works at these types of racetracks, is keep your car clean, keep yourself in the running. They really are kind of, in the elite racing leagues, they're more of a wild card almost than a lot of the play tracks that we go to. Yeah, you know, you might see some shakeup in terms of wins, and we talk about the play tracks because they are pretty much wild cards, but I mean, so much can affect a lot of strong drivers at these short tracks. Yes, I think a lot of the damage happens towards the back of the field, but a lot of top runners end up with a lot of damage, and you can see some pretty strange results come out of races like these.
I'm with you completely on that. To see if any of these crazy results happen. Maybe one of the bigger surprises early on in this race is that Jared Rexing has been, if not the fastest car, he's been the second fastest car, and that 10 car looks really racy, trying to make his way into that final race and lock himself into the championship 4. Rexing, I don't think either one of us picked Rexing to even go into the second round of the playoffs, Rich. And Rexing was kind of underestimated, and he is going out to prove something today.
It's pretty consistent with this, isn't it? The guy that we'll probably say, no, he won't make it, is probably a guy that has a very good shot at going on and winning the championship later this year. So we'll see. I mean, yeah, like I said, if David and I don't pick your name for the Final Four, there's a very good chance you'll be in that Final Four.
Yep, that's how it goes. Although, you know, we got this guy right here, Tyler Fodey, running right with him, and Fodey on that tear in the Xfinity/SMRI series on Mondays. 5 wins, has an average finish of something like 2.4 on the season, which even for a shorter seasoned online race, I have never seen a guy get results like that.
Yeah, no, that's just ridiculous. It's just purely ridiculous. He's hoping, obviously, to translate that into performance here in the Cup Series. He's been utterly dominant, like you said, in the SMRI Grand National Series, but only 1 win so far this season in the Cup Series, but he's been strong and continues to show that strength here at New Hampshire. We're about to go back to green flag racing, this time with Rexing on the top line.
Fodey and Damien get a bit of a jump and kind of keep Rexing in tow. That's certainly the best the second and third place cars have been able to do on the restarts, but Chuck Sweeting going after Fodey on that top side. Battle for second there between a couple of chasers, all following Jared Rexing.
Yeah, so there you go, Jared Rexing.
Super wide entering 3. We might have another crash here. Oh no. Looking for the caution. I think we're okay though. I think we all made it.
I think we're okay. I'm watching this battle go on further back in the field. Oh, we do have a car around. It is the one of Ryan Gavel, though, just further back in the field.
Jeff Green gets involved too. Oh, that's going to be a big one.
Let's get this iRace Online replay here loaded up and see exactly what happened with this number 1 car of Ryan Gavel. Let's watch this yellow car.
He's been loose off the corner. We've kind of documented it pretty well.
So Jeff Green goes high.
Jeff Green.
Or excuse me, 86 goes high into Green.
Oh, and Gavel comes back across in front of Michael Goodman. Ethan Burrell involved. Huge crash.
Johnny Thomas in there as well. I think Gerald Campbell might have just sneaked through all that smoke. Man, oh man, let's get another shot. Look at this replay. So Byrne and Jeff Green, who are teammates, kind of come together there off of 4, and it kind of all starts right there. You see that? I think that's Josh Robin, and the 8 car gets involved there. Alec Balvans, I think, just sneaks through. That'd be a great onboard to... Oh, no, he doesn't.
Clobbered by Dewar. Josh Clark is clobbered. Vincent Isabella has made it
There.
through as far as I can see.
I think he has.
Does he get all the way through there? He does. We got to watch the
We
Vincent
got to see if we
Isabella
can get the
onboard.
onboard there of the Vincent Isabella, because that'll be an absolute ride and a half.
Also, Harrison Talon and Ethan Burrell both just DM'd me and said, "Watch our onboards."
All right,
Yeah,
here we
we're
go.
on
So this
board
is the
with
42 of
Isabella
Vincent
right now.
Isabella. This is nice, super slow-mo pictures, and look at this. Oh, man.
Spectacular.
Yeah, fantastic avoidance from Vincent Isabella. Let's take a look at some of those other onboards. Who'd you say reached out to you, David?
Ethan Burrell and Harrison Talon immediately messaged me and said, "Take our onboard, do our onboard."
I were trying to find.
Also, Vincent Isabella messaged me and said for the onboard. So we got that one too.
We got the Vincent Isabella one. Here we go. This is
Here,
this Dusty York?
I got Ethan Burrell coming for you.
All right.
Oh, we need to back it up. We got to get Ethan when Gavel's going on top of him. Oh my! A massive crash here on the front straightaway,
Here we go.
yielding some pretty fantastic camera results here. And oh man, here comes Gavel. You see him shoot to the inside wall, coming back across.
Oh, you can't do anything if you're Ethan Burrell right now. Look at that, right underneath the one car of Ryan Gavel.
I don't know about
And
you
straight
guys,
on
but I'm
through there.
interested in taking out sponsorship ads on the bottom of Gavel's car for next season. So Gavel, if you're out there, man, I want to put a decal on the bottom of that machine because that was spectacular.
Incredible there. Jeez.
If we have time, let's grab Harrison Talon's on board as well, and then we'll have to head back to the restart. I think we might have used up this entire caution on these replays.
I think we got a couple laps to go here, so we've got some time to grab Harrison Talon. So I can't wait to see this. This is great. I mean, obviously not great for the drivers involved, but I'm loving these camera angles, getting to see these on boards. Obviously, big shout out to our producer, James East, for getting these camera angles to us. This is great.
Yeah, it's just Gavel's car shot to the inside wall so fast that these guys have absolutely nothing to do. I mean, they're off the gas. You see Burrell on the brakes there. And watch Vincent Isabella squirt through the middle here. Gavel bouncing off of Ethan Burrell, just riding right on top of him there. What a shot.
Oh, man. And does Harrison Talon get free of all this? He's just got this huge billow of smoke in front of him. You can't see anything. You know, we've talked about this before this season, this update that iRacing has brought out where it's just completely blind. And Talon, I think, is going to make it through, despite being right behind the car that went straight underneath Ryan Gavel.
Yeah, I think Talon's going to make it through. I think Gerald also makes it through here with no damage. Harrison also told us to look at Gerald's on board, but if we don't have the time, let's not worry about it.
I think we're just gridding up right now by the looks of it.
So Tyler Fodey, Damian Leininger, and Hank Steinmiller, the Lake Norman cars, all come to pit road. That's not going to help Ryan Gavel any, though. He's going to have to win one of these last two races, I think, to make it into the Final Four. So a tough break for Ryan Gavel, who has had a really good season right up until the luck just kind of all went away at once, and then it's been a pretty disastrous year after that.
Ryan Gavel's season has been so intriguing because it's really been, like you said, it's been an on and off switch. He was so on it at the start of this season, and then it just has not worked out for that one car. He's had the speed. It just hasn't been lucky enough, but we're about to go back to Green Flag Racing, and for Jared Rexing and Chuck Sweeting, well, they're loving this. A lot of their big competitors are right now out of it, and Rexing delayed kind of on the restart and kind of checks up the rest of the field, but he's underway now, and Andrew Rucker is going to take over as the second place, I think.
Seb Rucker dove it in too deep and about door slam Sweeting. I wonder if I just got got by the camera angle there. It might have been.
But looks like it.
Oh, Rucker's loose too. He is not handling quite as well as Chuck and Adams too. Here comes Josh Adams, and I mean, for a guy who's the regular season championship winner and a guy who's been running in the top 10 all race, we haven't talked about Adams at all.
Yeah, not really there. And
oh, gentlemen, it's another big one. We've got Haney, Personette, Balvin's involved in an incident. We've got Clark, Dewar off track.
This is
Here we go
another
again.
4 or 5 car incident at the back of the field, and I can just hear the drivers rumbling in anger about not, keeping the wheels on the car here. I think Damian Leininger is going to send Josh Personette. No, maybe not. I think Personette's just off here. Yeah, this is up in front of this shot.
Oh, you're right.
Personette going sideways. Look at Tyler Fodey get through there.
Ooh.
Ooh. Yeah, and that's the big danger when you're one of these guys. You've been up front the entire race, and you pit in for tires. You're right there in the thick of it, especially at these types of races, because we talked about it. A lot of these incidents typically will happen in the middle to the back of the field because guys are maybe pushing to try and get that last bit of track position, something like that. Make some big gains on these restarts when you're further back, and that's where these big crashes happen. And man, oh man, if you're Tyler Fodey, you are counting your lucky stars right now that you made it through that. But you're also now in danger. He's still running P16. He's still very much in danger of getting involved in another one on this next restart. So really, until you get it into really that top 4 or 5 is when you're kind of outside of the danger zone in general at these types of racetracks.
7 cautions early on in this race. And just like that, it's kind of looking like Milwaukee. We started off pretty good, and all of a sudden, man, I'm having flashbacks.
Yeah, not great flashbacks either. It's we're fingers crossed. It's always the same story with these types of tracks, right? You get kind of typically you try to get a long early run at these types of tracks, or you get some long run in there, but then once you get that first caution or that second big caution, they just keep coming fast and furious afterwards, and we're seeing that right now. I'm hoping that we kind of get ourselves settled into a bit of a rhythm relatively soon, but the fact that this has started here on we're only running laps 60 of 150 right now. Not super promising given the history that we know can sometimes happen here at these 1 mile racetracks.
Right. I mean, we'll see. We've got those 2.5 mile racetracks coming up in Homestead and Atlanta, I think. And so if this isn't your cup of tea, next couple of weeks, I think we'll have a lot of green flag racing for you. Homestead and Atlanta, and then Phoenix for our championship race. And Phoenix tends to have a similar way that this has gone, though. The last time we ran Phoenix in the Xfinity, or the home place Grand National Series, we ran into a race where there was a long green flag run right at the start, and then 1 caution under green flag pit stops. Just started a string of like 10 or so cautions all in a row. So you just have to watch out for that in that championship race. Those final 4 are really going to have to be on top of their game and on top of their pit strategy.
They absolutely will. It's going to be so tricky to just be there at the end and yeah, to make it kind of, like I said, to make it a wild card almost for that final championship 4 event. To make that a wild card event is going to be so interesting to see how this all plays out, because we could have an absolute shock champion at the end of all of this. There's still a ton to play for in this championship here.
Yeah, someone like Jared Rexing, who I think would be as shocking as anybody in this final 9. I look at, Josh Adams has been there all year. Chuck Sweeting's been good all year. Tooker would be a pretty big shock given that he's been out of it. He was out of the chase right up until Tuesday before the next race, when Ethan Burrell backed out of the playoffs and allowed Tooker to make his way in as the final driver, and then Tooker went and won at Mid-Ohio, locking himself into this round.
Yeah, David Tooker's been in for a while, so we kind of took for granted just how far out he kind of was initially, but we'll get back to green flag racing here, and there's still a lot to play for. Obviously, 3 drivers should get chosen by race wins before we get another driver picked by points, but we could have a surprise winner outside of the chase. I'm looking at this 64 car of Andrew Rucker. He's looking great right now in terms of speed on that car, and considering he worked his way back up the order. But back to green flag racing, it is Chuck Sweeting with the advantage, and I think that's also going to be Josh Adams working his way up into 3rd place, so beating out Andrew Rucker. And look out for Gerald Campbell. He's back up to P5 here, that 31 car with a lot of pace. We know he's really strong at racetracks just like this.
And Gerald is he wasn't real confident in it last week, if I remember right, but he's the kind of guy who can definitely put together a good run. He stayed out earlier, led some laps, got that bonus point. He knows it's going to be a battle all the way to the end, so you don't want to lose out on any potential points. And Gerald's certainly one of the guys to watch out for. I'm watching for Tyler Fodey's car, though. Where's Fodey? He's back in the field still. I think mired back in about 15. If that 40 car can claw his way through the field, that'd be the kicker. But right now, it looks like he's just trapped in a gaggle.
Yeah, the one thing I will say about Gerald Campbell is before his race win at Talladega last week, Gerald Campbell's best finish was 3rd at Bristol and Milwaukee. So look out for that 31 car on these shorter racetracks.
Definitely did come on strong late at Milwaukee, as I now remember. Matthew Weeks up to 6th. Another one of those guys that just needs to put together solid, consistent runs, but really like a race win. And Weeks was real excited about getting to this round and then getting into Homestead in Atlanta. I think he believes he's got a real shot at making it to Phoenix if he can get through those last 2 races.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about it last season. We've talked about it a lot this season. Matthew Weeks, Ethan Burrell, David Tooker now as well. I think a lot of that Pro Edge squad in general, you talk about 1.5 mile tracks, they're automatically in the conversation. Tate Lytle, even, you go back to Texas and his victory there. So, you know, something about those Pro Edge racing cars, those drivers that know how to get it done on those 1.5 mile tracks. And when you go to Atlanta, you go to Homestead, those are the exact types of tracks that they're looking forward to in this championship. But it's heating up here at the front here. Chuck Sweeting not letting Jared Rexon go away, and Josh Adams as well joining in this fight for the lead. They've kind of gapped Andrew Rucker right now.
Yeah, looking back through the field as well, the guys who avoided that wreck, like Vincent Isabella, Ethan Burrell, and Harrison Talon, are all running 8th, 10th, and 11th right now. So dodging that wreck really seems to be like the boon of the race so far, the move of the race, if you will. Those guys really enjoying that an awesome run after that awesome save.
Speaking of wrecks, we've got Dustin Dewar takes it for a spin. Solo crash, I believe. We'll grab the replay on our next caution, but keeps it off the track. No yellow comes out for that.
Good for Dusty to keep her going. No yellows. And, nice of it. This racetrack is really difficult to get off of. These guys are definitely having a more difficult time than they, I think, have in the past. You know, I remember, Rish, I don't know if you were in that race with us, but I think 2020A at or it might have been 2020B, but at New Hampshire, we ran, I think, 95 straight green flag laps or something like that in the Xfinity cars. I mean, it was a long race. Yeah.
Yeah. I think I recall that race because I remember my tires, I think when I got out of the car there, were at about 15% on the right front. That was a rough race.
Though there were people that blew tires in that race. Like,
yeah, there were.
And then a lot of those guys that did blow tires, guys who pitted and tried to not make it work, and guys who made it work, Chad Frankenfield, Gerald Campbell, you know, all these guys that are in this race. So we can do it. It's just a matter of these guys putting their minds to it and getting a long green flag run, which it looks like we've, crossed our fingers here, trying not to jinx anything. We're under green still.
We are still under green here, despite that self-spin there from Dustin Dewar. So it seems right now like everything's okay. And yeah, for Jared Rexing, he's gapped the 2 behind him. But here we go. Here comes Josh Adams, your regular season champion, your current points leader. He's looking to try and move forward, and he's going to, I think, slide on easily past Chuck Sweeting for the 2nd position. This 95 car is on a tear right now.
Old Chuck just lets him go. If there's anybody we ever want to compare to real drivers, I mean, Chuck Sweeting just reminds me of Mark Martin. He's always up front. He's always finding a way to craft his way up to the front of the field. And he always picks up a race win during the season. The guy is great to race around and very smart, very savvy. He knows what he's doing.
Yeah, absolutely. Love to watch Chuck Sweeting race, and again, at tracks like this, he's always there when we get towards the end of these races, especially attrition races. Look out for Chuck Sweeting. He can be so strong as everybody else around him implodes. Oh, we've got a battle going on between Gerald Campbell and Andrew Rucker right there in front of this battle right here for with Ethan Burrell and Matthew Weeks, those 2 teammates here. But Gerald Campbell, I think, getting a little bit tired of Andrew Rucker as they've lost that lead pack by about a second now. Campbell really wants to get moving forward here.
It looks like Rucker's holding them up, but it might just be that this group is running very similar times together. They're all pretty even right now, as far as I can tell, and it's kind of stacking the field up here as Colin Fern now goes after Ethan Burrell. I know those 2 have had some run-ins before. You see Tyler Fodey has now clawed his way up to 10th. So the 40 car, having to do a little bit of a different tire strategy. I'm willing to bet that if the caution comes out, Fodey may consider staying out and trying to hold the lead and not pit again. He might be on that idea of having one more stop, or no more stops rather.
Yeah, that's going to be tough for Tyler Fodey, I think, because right now we're 20 laps or so into this run. I don't know. We saw what happened with Fern when he was 23-lap old tires compared to, I think, fresh tires for everyone else around him, and he fell like a rock. So it's tough to say exactly what you do here. But the longer this run goes, the less of an advantage I think. Actually, I think during the run, Fodey will have more of an advantage, I think, and he should continue to be slightly better than all the cars in front of him.
We got another
Caution's
one
out.
we got Kendall Noah player off track. Harrison Talon crashed and off track.
Oh, Harrison dodges that first wreck and unfortunately unable to continue dodging this one. See what happened here. Hank Steinmiller and Harrison side by side. This was for 12th too. Oh, Hank's loose. Hank's going to overcorrect into him.
Ooh, yeah, this is probably where it all starts here. Watch that 63 car track up. Yeah, and that angle is just so.
Oh, we might need a different view of that. There was a solid foot of netcode there. That's a frustrating deal for Hank Steinmiller. I mean, certainly not trying to run over Harrison Talon. You see Kendall Noah player reacting to the smoke. Yeah, this view's not going to help us. I can tell you that right now.
Oh,
here we go.
This one might be a lot better. Yeah. So let's take a look. So you see
that?
No,
I think we're going to be in this. Oh, there it is. Look at that. He's not even close to him.
Yeah,
they were going to come together, but
see what I don't know is if that was netcode or if that's Harrison Talon reacting and then them getting involved in each other. So that's kind of hard to tell from where we're sitting. But yeah, I mean for both of their sake, I guess I hope it's netcode. We'll see what race control ends up calling on them.
Call that one as anything there. I mean, it seemed like Hank overcorrected, but he was under control. Harrison was coming down a little, but he was under control. And I mean, at worst, they probably could have bopped off each other and continued on. Unfortunately, iRacing had other plans.
Well, we got a lot of cars. Yeah, we got a lot of cars down pit road here. So guys coming in, Matthew Weeks, Ethan Burrell staying out. Jeff Green as well, making that call to stay out. Then Jared Rexing bringing everybody else down in. Tyler Fodey did actually come down pit road, so there you go. That's the update on the 40 car, and I think that's the right call. You can't be out there with those older tires. I want to see how this works out for Weeks and Burrell, because now I think we're going to see Rexing line up right behind those two Pro Edge Toyotas, and there he is.
Yep, it's a questionable call here, I think, for these guys. We'll have to see how this works out for Weeks and Burrell. They may just be looking to fall back a little, get off strategy here, then get on fresh tires, march their way back up through the field, similar to how Fodey and Leininger have done. Depends on how clean you can keep it here with all these fresh tires running you down.
So here's something that's kind of interesting to me. I'm just watching race control. Harrison Talon was given an EOL penalty. I don't know if that was a requested penalty by Harrison Talon or if somehow race control blamed him for that incident there, because I'm pretty sure Harrison Talon was an innocent bystander as far as I could tell.
Yeah, I don't. That's got to be something to fix up the way the running order's working, because Harrison needs to be at the back anyway. Might have sped on pit road trying to get off and fix the 23 car too, and so instead of giving him a penalty, instead of giving Harrison a penalty for exiting the closed pits or something like that, they're going ahead and giving him an EOL just to keep him at the back so he doesn't have to serve any other penalties.
Yeah, hoping that's the case there. Definitely, I think from up here, I saw zero indication that that was Harrison's fault at all. If anything, it was either a racing deal due to netcode or it was on the 63. Harrison, I don't think you could blame him for any of that incident.
100%. So, well, Ethan Burrell's had a car on top of him so far today, and also he's running second now. So, a lot of stuff going on up here throughout the field. I mean, Harrison too. He's been all over the place, dodging the wrecks. Now he's wrecked, and now he's at the back.
That's just how it works at these flat 1 mile racetracks, man. It's always just so crazy how these races work out. I can't wait to see what this run looks like for these two Pro Edge Toyotas, but they're going to get underway here pretty well. I'm going to guess, yeah, you see a good reaction there by Ethan Burrell. Can he come down, though, in front of Jared Rexing before they get to turn one, or will Rexing stick his nose in on the inside? I think he's going to get there on Ethan Burrell, and that's going to be tough for Burrell now to defend that position. Here comes Rexing. Look at the speed differential that he's got through 1 and 2.
You saw Joe Campbell hold off the Jared Rexing car. for 1 lap. That's all he had, was 1 lap. We'll see if Matthew Weeks can equal that. It doesn't look like it. Looks like Rexing's going to have a cleaner time cutting through the older tires of Weeks and Burrell.
Yeah, so watch out for this inside line here, because Rexing is on through to the lead. Now Chuck Sweeting joins Rexing past these 2 Pro Edge Toyotas. Again, I think that camera angle maybe see some contact. Rucker almost goes up into Ethan Burrell, though. They keep it nice and clean, though, off the corner. Burrell goes to the inside. Gerald Campbell now looking to the outside to try and get by that 37.
It's another smart move by a smart driver. Ethan Burrell drops it to the bottom, lets those guys get the big runs off the top on him, and he'll be able to keep things steady down there, even though he's on older tires. He can drop it off, go slower, and keep the 37 car clean.
So here we go, Andrew Ruck. Oh, Tyler Fodey loose off the corner. He saves it, though. He's going to keep it rolling, but going to lose a couple of positions here to Andrew Rucker and David Tooker. But man, oh man, that could have been very bad very quickly there for Tyler Fodey.
This is showing why more horsepower is better, pretty much constantly. I love watching these guys struggle with the race cars. They're doing a great job. Tyler Fodey, one of the best out there, wheeling that thing through the corner and keeping it straight. A great job by Tyler Fodey.
He looks sideways heading into the corner again this time here. Side by side with David Tooker, just hanging on right now. Tyler Fodey not really enjoying these fresh tires on that number 40 car.
He's not, and when he was in the lead, he was kind of checking out. He looked really good, but since he's been back in the pack, there have been other cars that have looked much faster than this 40 car. Tyler Fodey really wanted a good, strong run today to really establish himself in the hunt for that championship 4, if not a win and a lock into the championship 4. And for now, not really getting that done so far. And the strategy just hasn't fallen his way.
Yeah, definitely. You really need these cautions to fall your way when they can be so erratic like a race like this. So Tyler Fodey doing the best he can right now, running in the 6th position. So he's kind of worked his way back up into this, this top pack here, but he's suffering, I think, similar to what Gerald Campbell might have been suffering a little bit before, where he can't quite get past the 64 car. I don't know if Tyler Fodey has more pace. I kind of want to take a look at lap times here. He's running actually about the same lap times as Andrew Rucker. So right now, Fodey kind of losing the rest of that pack because he's running that same pace as Andrew Rucker. They can't quite clear this 64 car. And great defensive driving by Rucker.
Yeah, Ruckers tends to do that, though. He's been kind of not a roadblock so far today, but he's been in the way once this thing goes green a little bit. We saw, I think it was Gerald Campbell stuck behind him in the last run. Now Tyler Fodey's turn here to kind of get in behind Andrew Rucker, and I got stuck my fair share on Monday behind that 12 car for probably 50 laps. If the race goes green and it's difficult to pass, it can be just a headache to try to force that driver out of the way. Rucker gets loose off the corner, though. That's going to open up the door for Fodey.
Here we go. Damien Leininger now trying to take advantage of that as Tyler Fodey moves past Andrew Rucker. Can Leininger join his teammate up there loose off the corner? I don't think he's going to get the run there, and he might actually lose a position now to David Tooker.
That's the risk. You got a guy right on your ass to take that spot when you try to go down underneath, and it was a bit frustrating for sure at Bristol this Monday. You got people pressuring you from behind while you're busy trying to set up somebody for a pass. And it's tough out there, man. These series are so consistent and close with how much speed and how much pace all these guys have. Man, Damien Leininger turning it to the right, exiting the corner.
Yeah, I was going to say don't talk to me about Bristol on Monday, but yeah, Damien Leininger, you can see just the handwork that he's doing in the car, and it's so impressive to see. These guys really have to drive these race cars. You can see there David Tooker behind Leininger just kind of working the wheel on that race car, trying to get it to turn in and maybe not turn in, but trying to keep it straight off the corner here. So yeah, lots of work by these drivers, and that means that we're seeing the best of the best kind of rise to the top here over the course of this race. And that's what I love about these long runs here at these short tracks. I hate to jinx it, but I think we're finally starting to get something like that here.
No, caution's coming. It's coming. When the Jaws theme is playing in the background now.
I'm just watching the little green tick thing on the side of the ticker and waiting for that to turn yellow here. So we'll see any second now, I'm sure.
Yep, David Tooker hounding Andrew Rucker, just the latest driver really to hound Andrew Rucker. We see Tyler Fodey has driven away quickly from that 64 car, and it's kind of all about how much patience is David Tooker going to have with Andrew Rucker here.
Yeah, David Tooker, you can see they're kind of looking to get to the bottom, and I think the bottom line is going to be the place where you make the move, but you just have to have the drive off the corner. And I think that right now is where David Tooker is maybe struggling a little bit, especially off of turn 4. You can see how well he's able to dive that nose in, but you can't do much, especially when you've got a car like the 64 parking it on the kind of in the center of the corner there. And that puts David Tooker now at risk of losing a position to Damian Leininger because he checked up when his car was supposed to be at its fastest.
Yeah, it's tough for Tooker for sure. You know, you cut a brake to Ryle. There's told you, Rish. I told you, one lap. You had one lap there.
Oh man! All right, who's the cause of this right now?
Brent Jones and Josh Clark running side by side here, and I think it's going to be the 89 when he puts the power down. He's going to have a bit of a tough time.
I actually don't think it is. Let's take a look here because Josh Clark is getting very high here off the corner.
Maybe it is Josh Clark trying to overdrive it with a little damage. Not sure what's going on here. You got the patriotic number 28, and look at that. Car's just cutting out from under Josh Clark. Brent Jones rock solid on the bottom, and Clark goes around from the top.
And a man there, so Josh Clark not having a lot of fun right now in that number 28 car. Good-looking race car that he's got going there, but yeah, not a great front end on that. And a lot of guys, a lot of top guys here coming down at pit road. Jared Rexing, though, Chuck Sweeting, Colin Fern all decided to stay out, I believe. Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah, wow. So Hank Steinmiller, Vincent Isabella, Josh Robin, Tyler Dixon, Kendall Little Player, Richard Hines, Brent Jones, your top 10, all guys staying out from 11th on back then. Guys coming down pit road. We'll see who wins that race off pit road.
Gotta imagine those guys came down first. Josh Adams, Gerald Campbell, Tyler Fodey, Andrew Rucker, Damian Leininger, the front 5 off pit road. But they're going to be mired in the pack a little bit, I think. I wonder how many of these guys are going to come down. I imagine, like, Brent, maybe Richard will try to come down and grab tires. But this front 5, I think they've made their bed. They want to stay up in the front. They want that track position.
Yeah, absolutely. And with just 16 laps on these tires, taking into account maybe 3 or 4 of those laps were caution laps, I mean, that's not necessarily a bad call. You're kind of in that middle area right now. Yes, you're probably losing some pace on your tires compared to absolute fresh tires, but I mean, if the likes of Josh Adams, Tyler Fodey, Gerald Campbell have to go through, 5-6 cars just to get to Vincent Isabella, I mean, that's probably a pretty solid gamble, especially with how, how these cautions tend to fall and how valuable track position can be at these racetracks.
Yep, and I think given our propensity to get to a certain point, like say lap 150 to go, the intensity is going to ramp up. There are going to be more cautions. Might not be this run. We might get another 10 or 20 lap run, but I think more cautions are on the way. And guys like Vincent Isabella, Hank Steinmiller, Colin Fern, they're all saying, well, we don't have any track position. We haven't had any all day. Let's see what we can do with some. Maybe the cautions will fall our way.
Yeah, I mean, it's always a gamble when you've got races like this. Every single decision you make strategy-wise is a gamble. There's no surefire calls, anything like that. The second you've got races where you've got 9 cautions, we're probably going to look. My guess is we're gonna touch into the double digits. If we're unlucky here, which we typically are. But yeah. So every single time a caution falls, I mean, you have no idea what lap it's going to fall on and when exactly it's going to come out and who exactly is going to be involved. So, I mean, you just have to make what seems like the best choice at the moment. But I mean, we're going to look back on this race and be like, all right. Hindsight's 2020. This wasn't the right time to pit, or this was the right time to pit, and the race winner is going to come from one of those 2 packs.
Yeah, I think so. And the risky part, of course, is those guys in the mid pack. I mean, none of these guys came down, right? Brent Jones restarting 10th, Richard Hines restarting 9th. Those guys are going to be in the way just a little bit. They got old tires. There's cars right behind them with new tires. Going to be tough here on this restart for these guys to cut their way through cleanly, and I think the cautions are going to start flying, and it's just a matter of who gets through. You got points leader Josh Adams, Tyler Fodey, Gerald Campbell. They're 11th, 12th, and 13th. They're buried in the field here. David Tooker, Matthew Weeks, they're both buried in the field as well. Green flag back out.
Yeah, so here we go. Now it's going to be Jared Rexing again with that clean getaway, but the question is who's going to get second position? What's going to happen in that 3 wide, 4 wide, maybe even a little bit there in the back of the pack? Right now it looks like Chuck Sweeting's going to have the run off the corner for second position, but look at this. Guys going 3 wide still here down the back straightaway, heading into turn 3, trying to shuffle into some kind of order before we get in there. And you can see that 31 car of Gerald Campbell trying to slide it up the middle. Has to back it out, though, trying to get past Josh Adams. And are we under caution? Nope, the guys are back to green. That was just a trick of the camera.
We got to watch this backpack because these guys are really throwing it in deep, but I really think there's a lot of guys in there also kind of taking care of each other, doing a pretty good job. You got like some of those slower cars are stepping out of the way. Great job by Brent Jones and Richard Hunt to kind of get out of there with the older tires. They'll be able to pit next time, get fresh tires, and maybe make up some spots. You know, it's the guys like Tyler Dixon. Josh Robin gets loose out of turn 4. That was almost a disaster right around Joe Campbell.
Yeah, that's really frustrating for a guy like Tyler Dixon, I was going to say, who was running right behind Josh Robin, had a great run and had to back off. He's going to lose a ton of position. Dixon, one of those guys who made the call to stay out here, kind of getting swallowed up by all of these guys on those fresh tires.
Also not able to run nearly as hard as I think he wants to because Josh Robin's struggling so mightily here.
Yeah.
That 8 car is a caution waiting to happen. He's really loose exiting these corners.
Ooh.
I think he about almost got in the wall there too.
Yeah, I think so.
Burrell, David Tooker trying to streamline the Pro Edge cars underneath Josh Robin and Tyler Dixon. Johnny Thomas, who's recovering from damage in that big wreck. He was one of those who did not sneak through the wreck.
So if you're looking at the guys with the fresh tires, Josh Adams leads the way with those guys. He's up to P5 now. So, yeah, man, those fresh tires are certainly coming to get these guys. And here we go. Adams starting to look and try and work here on Vincent Isabella in the 4th position. What can he do as Isabella tries to see if he can get by Chuck Sweeting? Look at the speed difference there. Just 13 or so laps difference on these tires. But a massive advantage here for those fresh tires of Josh Adams.
Vincent tried to get up underneath Chuck before Josh got there, and just Adams swallowed him up so quickly. There was just no way that Vincent could do anything about it. Gerald following with right in behind Josh here. And Josh going after Chuck Sweeting, so now move Adams to 4th, Isabella to 5th, Campbell now trying for 5th on Vincent. Tyler Fodey's in this group. Damian Leininger's not on old tires. Fodey's just challenging his teammate.
Yeah, here we go. And Tyler Fodey tries to clear. Oh, man, a lot of guys loose off that corner. Fodey does clear Leininger. Those guys both work their way past Chuck Sweeting. Fodey's middle 3 wide there as Tyler Dixon's hanging out on the bottom of the racetrack there, and they all get by nice and cleanly. Meanwhile, Gerald Campbell now bringing the fight to Josh Adams as those guys are chasing down Rexing and Fern further up the road.
We just did a great job of jinxing Tyler Dixon. I'm pretty sure he bounced it off the fence, and that's what would have given him the damage to get down a lap there. Disappointing for sure. You just mentioned how good he was on the run he was having.
Oh man, yeah, it's yeah, back in the booth and already jinxing drivers. Maybe that was missing last week. Maybe you transferred the curse over to me. I think you've had more commentators' curses than I've had this season so far.
But I got to talk about Gerald Campbell all race long last week, and the guy went and won it on a last lap pass. So I'm guessing.
I think
maybe I'm here.
We got a caution out on the racetrack, though. I wonder who that could be. Oh, that might be your 42 of Vincent Isabella.
Yeah, that's right. It's gonna be Isabella.
Man.
We got the replay loading up now, but Isabella is gonna be the next victim here of New Hampshire.
He might have overdriven it into the corner just a little bit on the older tires.
Let's take a look here. But that's probably going to be one of your issues when you do stay out on those old tires, because you see guys around you going so much faster. You're like, oh man, I could take, a couple miles an hour faster through the corner, but you just can't. The grip isn't there.
Or did he get run into here by Ethan Burrell?
Ooh, maybe, yeah.
Burrell gets
Looks
into
like
him.
that's the case.
Maybe even some netcode there, because I'm not sure I saw contact directly with that 37.
How much damage is he going to get bouncing it off the wall? Yeah, pretty decent amount. That's a pretty hard hit for Vincent. Tough break. He was running very well. Looks pretty competitive, and it might have been able to swallow him up properly, or the strategy might have.
Yeah. Oh, still on the replay camera there. I was gonna say I thought Vincent Isabella was still sitting there at the top of turn 1, but I think he's
No, we've
fine
got
now.
Frankenfield showing as a crash too. Not sure if he
He
Oh, I
just
think
stopped
he
it right there.
stopped. Yeah, very
Yeah.
interesting.
Huh.
So not quite sure what happened to Chad Frankenfield. He's shown as has towed, and he's back on pit road. So yeah, I'm not sure what happened to Chad Frankenfield. I don't know if he maybe just decided to call it a night.
He was many laps down in that 15
Yeah.
car after getting involved in that wreck. And hey, Tyler Dixon got the lucky dog, so there he goes. And now he'll be able to come down pit road, fix that damage, and see if he can't get back in this race. And sometimes all it takes is being on the lead lap, and if you can maintain that, you can have a chance at a good finish.
So the narrative is flipped now because the guys who stayed out, Jared Rex and Colin Fern, more specifically, both came down pit road. What's interesting to me now is that Gerald Campbell, who pitted on that last caution, has come down to pit again. So Gerald Campbell doing whatever he can to get fresh tires. He thinks that's going to be the answer. And importantly for him, he came off pit road faster than that of Rexing and Fern. And actually, looking at the timing, I don't know if you have this information, James, but looking at just the time spent on pit road, I think Gerald Campbell just took 2 right side tires.
Yeah, Gerald Campbell is about a 4-second faster pit window than the surrounding cars. So if I was a betting man, I think you're right. I think it's going to be 2 tires and fuel, I believe, is what we're going to see out of Campbell.
Interesting. So with that, Gerald Campbell taking a chance that being in front of Jared Rexing is all it's going to take to carve through these lapped cars. I don't think the left side tires are going to wear a whole lot. We'll see how well this strategy plays out for sure, and I think guys maybe need to take some notes. The Gerald Campbell 2 tires, it's either a good call or a bad call, but we'll have to monitor that 31 car moving through the field.
Yeah, very interesting there. And I like that call for track position. I wonder if that's going to work. I have no idea what to expect. I mean, you're talking about 12 laps on the inside tires, right? So I'd imagine they're totally fine there on Campbell's car, but he's thinking, look, even on 12-lap old tires compared to 4 fresh tires, they still made such a huge, massive ground on the leaders who stayed out. So maybe finding a compromise in there. He's gotten that track position. He maintained some of it by taking that shorter pit stop, but he's also got fresh right side tires that he can now lean on. I'm really curious to see how this works out. I like this call from the 31, trying something a little bit different. We haven't seen, at least I don't think we've seen anybody up front really take that 2-tire stop yet.
With only 44 laps to go, I also think that the intensity is about to ramp up a little bit more and a little bit more with each passing caution. These guys are going to start pushing for the race because the win is coming. It's on its way.
Yeah, and a huge effect that this win has on this race. Of course, if a chaser does put their car in victory lane, they get a nice ticket straight to Phoenix for championship week.
Yep, so these guys are going to be pushing extra hard, I think, for that victory. Tyler Fodey and Josh Adams, 2 of those guys who really want this win. Matthew Weeks as well in the top 3 here. So Adams goes really early. Fodey with a pretty good restart, though.
Yeah, Tyler Fodey making sure he stays in front of Matthew Weeks. And look at Weeks back in it. He had that call with Ethan Burrell staying out on those older tires. But Matthew Weeks now with the same strategy as the rest of these guys and trying to look on the outside of Fodey, not quite able to do it. He might try to settle here into 3rd position if he can stay in front of Damien Leininger. We've got them 2 wide further back here. Jared Rexing, look out for that yellow car, that number 10. He's trying to get by Gerald Campbell, who's kind of trapped right now behind Colin Fern. So kind of chaos right now.
Wide. Ooh, man, that's a tight battle there coming off of turn 4. Fern gets through there.
Wide.
Fern and Campbell are the 2 of the first cars with fresh rubber. One's kind of leading the way. Rexing, though, stuck in the pack. That dominant car of the day, the 10 car, unable to move forward as well as his counterparts.
Yeah, Rexing also kind of seeing it.
Thomas and Tucker into each other.
And Gerald Campbell almost dives low to avoid that. Almost gets into Jared Rexing. And those guys almost come together. They're still 3 wide. Campbell in the middle, Rexing on the bottom, Tucker up top.
Great chasers 3 wide there, entering turn 1. That was dangerous.
Oh boy, yeah, look at this here. And he's kind of got Gerald Campbell right now. I think he had a lot of pace. He got checked up, and I think he just slapped the wall a little bit there off of 2.
Bounced off of it. That's not going to help the car go any faster. Now Chuck trying to get up underneath, and Colin Fern has made quick work of Matthew Weeks. That's the first car with tires, and that's Tyler Fodey and Josh Adams' worst nightmare right now, is that this run goes long enough for Colin Fern to drive up past him.
You just jinxed it.
Well, that was perfect.
So just as you say that, we do have a caution that comes out. Let's take a look and see who it was.
That's going to be Richard Hines causing the initial incident, or not causing, but maybe being involved in the initial incident. So we're going to watch the number 87 machine of Hines. He's involved in the crash. He actually shows us crashing twice within a couple seconds, and Steinmiller also going to be involved in this one.
Man, I think Hines is going to bounce it off of the barrels here. No, overcorrects it. Right there. He's going to go right up in front of Hank Steinmiller. Bang.
Damn, Zishan, I think he's going to slide on through. He does. Good for that 01 car, and I think everybody else does. But 2 cars involved in that wreck, enough to bring out that caution, blocking up that front straightaway there. Yeah, unfortunate.
Yep, big wreck there, and big hit for Hank Steinmiller, one of the cars who's been in the top 10 today. A bit of a disappointing way to end it for Hank Steinmiller, though he's no longer involved in the playoffs. I bet a lot of these guys are going to come down and get tires here.
Yeah, let's take a look. It is disappointing for Hank for sure. I think I had him slated as one of my guys who might have even made it to the Final Four because of how strong his late season charge was in the regular season. Just hasn't quite been able to put the run together here in the chase, and that kind of continues in this second round, even though he's out of it right now. A couple of guys coming down, but a lot of our leaders staying out right now. The first notable driver down pit road, Matthew Weeks in the 11.
Yeah, I definitely thought Weeks was going to come in. Interesting call for Adams, Fodey, and Leininger. This may have been the right play to go in and get the tires, but, we'll have to see if it works out for Weeks. I just think Fern, Rexing, and Campbell and Sweeting are going to have so much of an advantage that it's going to be very difficult for Adams, Fodey, and Leininger to hold them off.
It's going to be tough, yeah. I mean, you're talking 20-lap old tires versus 8-lap old tires, and it's a long gap back to the guys with fresh tires. Matthew Weeks, first guy off pit road, down in 16th position. So that's a lot of work. We saw Tyler Fodey down in that position, and how long it took for him to kind of work his way back up the order. Needed to get a lot of cautions, kind of stay out on a couple of those to get himself back up into the equation. Right now sits second after that, but we're running out of laps to be able to do something like that.
Just 38 laps to go, so kind of about an 8-lap run there, and these guys are going to probably go green with maybe 36, 35 laps to go. Going to be a quick ending to this race if they do stay green. Right now, I kind of feel like Jared Rexing is in the catbird seat. He's the car that seems to be the fastest. He's handled things the best. He's second car on fresh tires right now, and I don't think he has to pit again. I think Rexing can stay out until the end of the race. I'm sure Adams, Fodey, and Leininger are going to try that strategy, but if the cautions don't come quickly, they are going to get eaten up, I think, by these fresh tires.
Yeah, Jared Rexing currently holds the fastest lap of this race, and that 10 car has been so strong today. I mean, just there's something, something that's working here for Jared Rexing right now, and he looks so comfortable compared to everybody else. And we've seen guys who lead really well, but then you'll throw them back in the pack and they'll struggle, or guys who do really well fighting each other but can't quite make it all the way up to the front. Jared Rexing has been strong wherever you put that 10 car on the racetrack, and that's pretty important for a race like this where you can be restarting just about anywhere in any line, in any position. Jared Rexing has been strong, all race long, and of course now he's got that advantage in terms of tires versus the 3 guys in front of him. So the only guy he's really got to fight, I think, is going to be Colin Fern, and I think realistically, Jared Rexing looks like he's had the faster car than Fern tonight.
Right, for the most part, but Fern's going to have the advantage on this restart of being in the outside lane, so potentially that could be what Fern and Gerald Campbell both desperately need, is that outside lane and the ability to restart along with the leader.
Well, we're getting ready to go back to green flag racing here. It's going to be Josh Adams and Tyler Fodey on the front row. Adams will send the field to green here, and here we go. You've got Colin Fern with probably the advantage of working with his teammate there a little bit on the top line. We'll see what Fern can do. He should have the tire advantage over Tyler Fodey to get by on the outside. Those two go side by side. We see them 3 wide further in the pack, but for the lead right now, Fodey hanging on the inside.
Tyler Fodey doing everything he can to stay with that track position. That's where I kind of questioned the move to stay out here. It's not going to be easy for Tyler Fodey on the older tires.
No, it's not. You see there, Gerald Campbell almost gets right there, or involved in a wreck there. He's past Jared Rexing. So keep an eye on this 31 car here, because Rexing right now didn't have the best of restarts. He's fallen back a couple of spots behind guys on the same strategy like Sweeting, like Campbell, like Fern, all of those guys with the same tire strategy as Jared Rexing, all of them in front of that 10 car after this restart.
Yep, and now it's Chuck Sweeting on the back bumper of Campbell, but Colin Fern hunting the race lead, going after Josh Adams. This battle is for 4th. Colin Fern is the one, I think, on the attack, and he's going to be the one to take the lead here from Adams. I think the stay-out strategy might have hit on just a little bit too soon for these guys.
Yeah, I'm curious to see what Fern's game plan is here, because Adams is obviously a teammate looking to get into the Final Four. Fern is not in the chase right now, but we also know Fern very much races largely for himself in terms of getting the results that work best for him. So, Colin Fern, was that an issue? Colin Fern down the order.
Yep, he dropped down. I think he may have gotten sideways exiting turn 4. And all this while Tyler Fodey and Gerald Campbell began to battle. So suddenly Josh Adams pulls out to a big lead.
Yeah, here we go. Gerald Campbell now looking to the inside of Tyler Fodey. He's trying to get up into second position and now kind of take over that position where Colin Fern was hounding down Josh Adams. But Adams sits pretty healthy right now with a 3/4 of a second lead, and we have a caution out on the racetrack.
Yeah, it's going to be Andrew Rucker involved in that one.
Take a look, that
there's
64
going to be a
car.
bunch of cars collected in this one. Andrew Rucker involved in the initial incident. We got Brent Jones, Dustin Dewar, Johnny Thomas, Steinmiller, Hines, all involved in the crash. We got Green off track to avoid it. Let's see what we got going on here.
Andrew Rucker and Vincent Isabella. Let's see if there's maybe a little help from the back.
I think the initial crash happens behind them. There's 2 different crashes going on here.
Ooh, that's a hit there from Vincent Isabella into Rucker, and then kind of all. Oh, there was something else. I don't know if that's just them checking up for Rucker spun out up top, but that secondary crash, who was that involved? Is that Brent Jones and Dustin Dewar, I think, who started that second
Brent
one?
Jones and Dustin Dewar, I think, was started in the backstretch. They get into the wall by themselves, and then it goes from bad to worse. They try and collect it and run right into another crash, I think.
Yeah, I was gonna say you need to right there. Clark Clark puts Haney in the wall. And man, all these guys kind of enter the corner, slow up. Some of them slow up, some of them don't. Look at Dusty start spinning out. He hit the brakes early and just piled into his teammate.
A little bit of crash avoidance, a little bit of ARCA brakes. A lot of spectacular crashes here in New Hampshire.
Richard Hines just stopped to avoid the incident.
Yeah, there you go. So.
Brent Jones, an innocent victim there. Dusty Dewar locked him up, trying to get her slowed down.
Yeah, so kind of our second really big crash of the night, I think. Trying to think if there were any much larger ones as well, but we've had a couple that involved a few cars, but not too many that involved 5 or 6 cars like that one or more.
Yeah, except for the one where Ethan Burrell was up on top of, or Ryan Gavel was up on top of Ethan Burrell. That was a good rack there. If you're gonna have them, I want them that are entertaining like that one was.
We want spectacular wrecks here, only. Well, the pit strategy call, what is it? Basically, nobody coming down pit road. Excuse me, a couple of guys coming down pit road. So Jared Rexing, Tyler Fodey, Colin Fern, all making that decision to come down pit road and pit for fresh tires here on lap 121 of 150. That is a bold call here with how cautions have flown so far today. Josh Robin as well joining, and Damian Leininger joining in that group as well. That means it's going to be Josh Adams on 30-lap-old tires leading the field to green with Gerald Campbell, Chuck Sweeting, and Ethan Burrell all on the same strategy there, kind of hunting him down. So this is going to be very interesting. man, we've got up front, we've got 3 different strategies, and then we've got a 4th one kind of hanging out around the 12th position right now. So a lot of different options here for guys that can win this race.
Oh yeah, this race is far from over. Josh Adams obviously in a good spot with the race lead. Campbell and Sweeting have fresher tires than him. And then you go back not too far, Matthew Weeks has fresher tires than them. And then you go back to Jared Rexing, Tyler Fodey. Those guys have the freshest tires on the track.
All right, well, the field's getting lined up 2 by 2. We're getting ready to go back to green flag racing. We'll get that green flag on lap 23 of 150. This race is very much winding down here to a close. And, I mean, we've seen a number of different leaders here, all of them chasers, with a chance to bring their cars to victory lane. Jared Rexing looked like an early favorite, same with Tyler Fodey. Right now it's Josh Adams, though, leading the way. But look out for the likes of Gerald Campbell and Chuck Sweeting, both chasers on that bottom lane, trying to see if they can get by this 95 car on old tires. Pace car is going to come in. Josh Adams is going to go nice and early, and we're back to green flag racing on lap 123 at New Hampshire.
I'm telling you, I'm watching these pro edge cars here. Ethan Burrell and Matthew Weeks, I think they're on the same tire strategy. And that tire strategy, oh, Ethan got into Gerald Campbell. Woo, buddy.
Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Here we go. So we're
there you go,
we got
big
a
crash in the back. That might be bad news for some of our playoff drivers. Rex actually, Fodey is through it. Fodey's okay. It depends on, I think Rexing is involved. I think Rexing was one of the ones who went around.
See that replay. I think Rexing might actually be free of damage. I'm curious to see what this looks like here.
Yeah, we're watching
3 wide
Harrison
into the corner,
Talon.
and I think Rexing's just going to go straight up into Harrison Talon.
That's tough for Jared Rexing, and see Colin Fern gets into the back of Rexing, so that's going to be damage on the 86 car. Look at Tyler Fodey thread his way through this. I think these guys are going to go down to the bottom, and Fodey on the brakes, trying to keep it steady. That 40 car up in the top lane, that's the one that I'm certainly most concerned about. And here he comes, cuts it down to the inside. I think Tyler Fodey's going to be free of damage.
What great avoidance there by Tyler Fodey. Incredible. Yeah, wow, look at that. And I don't think any other chasers really involved in that one. Here we go. Is this on board with Tyler Fodey?
Yes, sir.
Man, and the ability to keep it off of Josh Robin right here and stay out of it. You see the damage to Colin Fern's car, so the 86 may be no longer one of those involved. And man, Tyler Fodey, lucky did not get run over, but at the same time, a really good job of slowing up and avoiding this incident.
Yeah, so there we go. Through the incident, and yeah, Jared Rexing does come down for new tires here. The rest of the field, though, I mean, up to 18th position, all staying out. Obviously, we just had that last caution, just about a lap or 2 ago. Big guys coming down pit road. Jared Rexing, Johnny Thomas, Hank Steinmiller, I think, also coming down. But all these guys pitting for damage. So really, nobody deciding to pit for strategy reasons. Everybody just coming in for damage repair. Rexing going.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, Rexing going from one of the favorites to win right now to sitting down in 22nd here. Almost goes down a lap, I think, but he's going to stay out on the lead lap, but going to restart 22nd. That is, yeah, not great here for this 10 car. A lot of work to do there, and yeah, man, oh man, that's just how quickly this race can go away from you.
Colin Fern is staying out with his damage, and I think that might be danger for the back of the field, and it might spell another caution pretty quickly because that's probably going to stack him up. He hit Harrison Talon very hard. I mean, we saw the 23 car jump up into the air when that 86 impacted him, and there are guys behind him that are definitely involved in the chase. So.
Yeah, I was going to say, Tyler Fodey just 4 cars behind Colin Fern. This could be a very interesting restart. Look out for that group around, around the top 10. 8th through 12th, I think, is going to be very, very interesting with Colin Fern there restarting. And Tyler Dixon restarting up in the 7th position behind a bunch of chasers, and Ethan Burrell up in 3rd position.
Yep, so good runs for Burrell and Dixon as the kind of non-chaser guys. Dusty Dewar's up in the top 10 too. We saw him get sideways in that one wreck, but he's rebounded nicely. The strategy is working out for him, and the question at this point is, are we done with cautions? Because I don't think so.
Oh, absolutely not, especially with how this race is playing out and the fact that we're going to restart here with 23 laps to go. Absolutely not. We've got guys who are going to be very eager to get themselves forward in this pack because, again, the guy who walks away with a victory today could very well be locking his spot into the championship 4. This is an important race here, and you could spend the next 2 weeks not having to worry about any of the other races and just focusing on that championship 4. So this is a big, important race. Look out for the guy who wins this because they're certainly going to be one of the favorites to win the championship. But pace car is going to peel off here, and it's going to be Josh Adams leading the field back to green once again. But Gerald Campbell is going to be the guy right on his tail heading into turn 1.
Can Matthew Weeks do anything? I know he says still. Oh, and Campbell just blows Adams away entering turn 1. That's an opportunity for the 31 car to get around Josh Adams. He's got to take advantage of it here.
Still not quite clear there of the 95 car. Josh Adams doing a great job holding on the inside, and Gerald Campbell having to run that way high line, and actually Ethan Burrell is able to get back to this 31, but look at the run that Campbell gets off the corner here. You know, it kind of fades a little bit there, really, you know, as you kind of slowly get off the corner, and that puts Ethan Burrell back into second place here. So Gerald Campbell,
it's going to get it in Gerald. Oh, man.
I think it's the camera angle. I want to say it's the camera angle, but man, they look so close there. Gerald Campbell right now struggling on this restart, losing a spot now to Chuck Sweeting, and Sweeting is the guy on the same strategy here, tire strategy, as Campbell. Actually, so is Ethan Burrell.
What a job by Josh Adams, though, man. He is just running and hiding with that race lead, doing everything he can. Matthew Weeks, what a save. Exiting turn 4, battling with his teammate David Tooker. Tooker into 5th now, so the 19 car within striking distance of the race lead. Colin Fern's damage doesn't look to be bad enough that it's hampering him, or maybe the tires are just making up that much ground. Either way, 86 car still in the hunt for this one. Right behind Matthew Weeks, and there's Josh Robin, Damian Leininger, and Tyler Fodey. All 3 of those guys on fresh rubber, I believe.
Yeah, Damian Leininger right now Colin Fern leading the group of guys with fresh tires. Josh Robin, Leininger, Fodey kind of following through that, in that order. Those guys passing a couple of guys on older tires with 19-lap old tires versus the 11-lap old. But yeah, we'll kind of see how this continues to play out. 20 laps to go here. It is still Josh Adams over Ethan Burrell, over Gerald Campbell. Chuck Sweeting right now trying to defend as hard as he possibly can from David Tooker. And now Tooker, kind of a rough turn 4 there, about to fall back behind his teammate Matthew Weeks.
For I think the 4th chaser on track, and then all these guys need to finish up in this top group to get that big advantage over Frankenfield and Gavel especially, and probably Rexing as well at this point. All those guys are going to be taking a big hit in the points, and the likelihood that we have 3 consecutive winners in the playoffs, not particularly high given the amount of talent in this series. So there's certainly going to be at least 1, if not 2 positions up for grabs for points. These guys got to push for every single position.
Absolutely, they do. So, yeah, every spot matters, every point matters, and that's what these guys are fighting for. That's why we see them fight so hard at these racetracks. But single filed out right now, 18 laps to go in this race. Colin Fern making a move on the inside of David Tooker here, trying to see if he can get cleared of that 19 car. Fern not fighting for a championship here. He was out in round number 1, but Fern trying to grab 1 or 2 more wins before this season is over.
Leininger have a problem? I don't see him there off the back of Fodey anymore. It's Robin, and then I think Leininger is gone. So Damian Leininger, I think, had a major issue. He's no longer even on track. Ethan Burrell is going for the race lead.
Here we go. Ethan Burrell side by side with Josh Adams, not quite able to get there on that 95 car. And credit where credit is due to Josh Adams on those ancient Goodyear tires. He's just holding that bottom lane and not really giving an option to Ethan Burrell. It doesn't quite look like that top, that top or middle groove is really able to get you past another car. And for Josh Adams, all he has to do is hug that bottom line. I think that's enough for him to stay in front of this 37 right now.
All that, we've monitored Ethan Burrell's winless streak in this series and all his second place, third place finishes. And here he is battling for a win in a race that he doesn't really need a win in. You know, he's been under pressure a lot as Fern just fires it into the corner. You know, another one of those Colin Fern moves where he just drives it in deeper than everybody else and sees what sticks. Tooker bounces it off the wall. He's battling with Fodey now. As I was saying on Burrell, like, the pressure's off Ethan. You know, he's normally running for a championship. He's been in the Final Four every year. This year, Fern and Weeks both sideways. Fern's gonna crash it.
Oh, that's a hard hit. What was that?
Racing, baby. Caution's out now, and that'll set things up for a wild finish, I think, in this one.
What was that? God, this is, man, oh man, this is gonna be very interesting to see. I can't wait to see what this wreck looks like for Colin Fern, because that was a strange hit into the pit wall barrier.
Yep, the old iRacing stop and throw you back incident there, and Fern was really driving it hard. And
I was going to say, watch the 37 just in front of Colin Fern. You're going to see him dive to the bottom because he gets so loose off of turn 4. That's what I saw, and then I turned over to Colin Fern, and I saw him get loose and spin it out off this corner. So Ethan Burrell kind of saves the saves his own bake, and Colin Fern not quite able to save that car off of 4 and sends it into the wall, bringing out our, what is this, 17th caution? No. 12th, 13th? 12th caution. There we go.
It's funny. I think we saw 4 cars get loose off that corner. I think Ethan Burrell, Gerald Campbell, Matthew Weeks, and Colin Fern all got loose exiting turn 4 right there. And all but one saved it.
Yeah, again, impressive driving by all of these guys. You said it. This high horsepower, low downforce package really brings out the best drivers, and it forces you to really have to get up on the wheel and drive these things, and we're seeing that here tonight. So a lot of cautions, a lot of slow laps, but when these guys are on it, man, you can tell they are struggling to keep a hold of these powerful race cars. All right, so in terms of pit calls, a couple of very interesting ones from what I'm seeing. Matthew Weeks brings his car down pit road. Gerald Campbell brings his car down pit road. Jared Rexing comes down pit road, though I believe that might be for damage. He's kind of moved up a couple of spots. A lot of guys further back have all made the call to come down pit road. So 13th on forward stays out. 14th position, Gerald Campbell has come down pit road. Is that going to be enough, though? 12 laps to go. I struggle to think that's going to be enough for Campbell. I question that move to pit this late in the race.
The tough part is that, you know, all these guys are staying out. There's just not going to be enough track and enough laps to get around all these guys. You know, like I think Gerald's going to be able to make up spots, and he's going to be on the attack, but it's just going to be very difficult for him to make up all that ground, where you've got a lot of guys staying out. You know, Jeff Green's in 7th, Kendall Noah Player's in 8th, Vincent Isabella's in 9th, Scott Haney's up to 10th. Like, all these guys staying out, just trying to see what happens, and these guys are going to start going 3 wide behind them. The cautions are going to fly again. You know, it's going to be Josh Adams, Ethan Burrell. They're just 1st and 2nd. It's going to be all about what they do on these restarts, I think, that determines the end of this race.
Well, the guy you want to watch out for is Tyler Fodey, because in the top 5, he has the freshest tires of anybody in that battle. Josh Robin, another guy with the same age tires as Fodey. Same thing with Kendall Noah Player as well in the 8th position. So, yeah, this is interesting. The guy I'm really looking at is Fodey, of course. He's got those fresh tires. He's got the ability. We know how fast that car has been, that 40 car. And, of course, he's in the chase. He's got that motivation to go across and win this race. But we saw, I mean, Ethan Burrell with 14 lap newer tires than Josh Adams couldn't make that move work. Tyler Fodey has 16 lap newer tires than Sweeting and Burrell. Of course, he has nearly 30 lap newer tires than Josh Adams. So maybe there's, enough of an advantage there, but man, it's tough to overtake, especially when you get moving here. And we're going to probably go back to green flag racing here with 8 laps to go, I think. 9 laps to go.
Yeah,
we'll get 2 by 2 now.
There's just not a lot of time. And that's Gerald Campbell and Matthew Weeks' best friend right now is time and space on the racetrack to be able to put those cars to get through all this traffic. It's going to be a log jam, and they also need these guys up front to not bounce off of each other. I like being on fresh tires. I like being on the attack. I just don't know if it's going to work out for them.
Well, we'll find out for what's hopefully the last restart of the night here at New Hampshire. With 9 laps to go, the pace car is going to bring the field back to the green flag racing, and it's going to be Josh Adams once again leading the field back to green.
Yep, Adams certainly has dominated the middle and late part of this race. That 95 car really looks tough to beat. There
Yes,
he goes.
it does. The pace car is off, and here goes Josh Adams. A nice jump on the start. Ethan Burrell hanging on the outside. He might look to the inside. No, he's not. They're going to stay right behind, and here we go. Who is that? Is that Tyler Fodey?
Fodey.
On the outside.
Tyler Fodey with a massive move. Takes over third from Chuck Sweeting, going after second from Ethan Burrell. The 40 car finally able to gather some speed and work his way forward. He's got to gain as many spots as he can in order to get in the right position if the caution comes out for these restarts.
Tyler Fodey with a nose in front of Ethan Burrell off of turn 4. Can he maintain the position, though? Because he's still going to be on the outside lane heading into 1 and 2. It's going to be tough. He's got the fresher tires, though. What can Tyler Fodey do? And they're not letting Josh Adams run away either. So here we go. Tyler Fodey still staying strong. And again, credit to Ethan Burrell for hanging on here. That 13-lap difference on tires can be pretty significant here. We've seen just how that fares at these racetracks, but Tyler Fodey, man, you can tell that is a man on a mission.
Oh, he almost lost it there. He's finally got Burrell. Caution's out.
Ooh, okay.
No, Hank Steinmiller's been a pinball all day, man. He has not had a race to remember, that's for sure.
Yeah, not a great night for Hank Steinmiller. Let's take a look and see what happened to this number 63 car.
Tyler Dixon right in front of him.
Oh.
Not sure where Steinmiller was trying to go except for through Dixon.
Yeah. Ooh, and right in front of them, there's kind of a tandem spin as Johnny Thomas and Brent Jones come together as well. Right. Totally unrelated, I think, to that first spin.
Yeah, guys are just pushing as hard as they can at the end of the race here, I think. And Steinmiller tries to hold on to it as the car goes low, but it's going to snap on him. He's going to hold on the brakes and pray a little bit as everybody tries to make their way around him.
Yeah, interesting to see there. Hank Steinmiller right now sitting in the 22nd position. Again, just has not been, has not been able to put anything together here as we watch another replay there of the incident that happened right in front of Hank Steinmiller.
Yeah, let's get Brent Jones's. That's a replay right there, gentlemen.
Tough break for Brent too. He had been running pretty well. He's up to 13th, and he's kind of kept to himself all day. First time he's actually bounced into someone.
Yeah, nice little tandem drifting there through turn 3. Again, if we're gonna see guys crash out, we might as well have them, nice and pretty crashes, things like that, or nice and interesting crashes for sure.
Yeah, and that's gonna mean Tyler Fodey's gonna be on the same line as Josh Adams. Ethan Burrell will be restarting on the bottom, so Chuck Sweeting will be on the outside behind Adams. I imagine Adams will be restarting on the top again. Although, has he been restarting on the bottom? He might have been restarting on the bottom.
I think he's been restarting on the bottom. You're correct there. So yeah, that's going to be interesting, and it's worked for him, right? Yeah, I mean, the bottom lane has definitely been the way to go here, at this racetrack. So I don't know. We'll see kind of how this plays out. Adams, I think, will want to take that bottom line, just to make sure that Tyler Fodey, Ethan Burrell don't have a shot, because I think Tyler Fodey, it took him 2.5, 3 laps to just get by Ethan Burrell, and that was even by a nose. I think Fodey got bailed out by that caution. That could have been a lot longer just to get by because Ethan Burrell had the inside line.
I wonder if Fodey won't try to get up on the outside and try to push past Adams to get to the line first. Get that run on the outside lane. That might be the play. Just diving in deep in turn 1 here. Hope you can get him alongside Adams and then go side by side up until the race ends. And that might be Tyler Fodey's best bet. Although Adams is on much older rubber than Ethan Burrell was.
Yeah, so here we go. Again, big shout out again to Josh Adams because he's held on to this car 54 lap old tires on that number 95 car. Everybody else has been down pit road sooner than that, but man, oh man, Josh Adams, playing that track position game, and so far it has worked here with 4 laps to go in this race. And when we go back to green, it'll be 3 to go. Josh Adams could still very well be the man who brings that car across the line in first place. Do not count out that 95 car just because those tires are looking a little bit worn at this point in this race.
Never do. You never count out Josh Adams. He's always a strong closer at the end of these things. But you know, Tyler Fodey guy, he's pretty good at the end of races too. It's going to be a good battle between these two.
Yes, sir. A lot of talent here, as usual, leading the field back towards this restart. And yeah, we're going to go back to green flag racing with just 3 laps to go in this race. Could be looking at hopefully what's going to be the end of the race here, or potentially even a green white checker with how aggressive guys can be on these restarts. We're going around actually for one more time, so a delayed caution by the looks of it.
Yep, their iRacing might have started up the green-white checkered countdown there, and so this might actually be the last restart of the race.
On a live time and scoring, I did show one driver had a solo crash and jumped the pit, so that might have been enough to trigger the extended yellow. I don't have comps or race control, so we it could have been an admin thing, it could have been the iRacing thing, extending that one for one more.
Yeah, I am seeing Chad Frankenfield sitting on pit road, and it shows that he effectively towed to pit road is how we call it, where the time on the lane is exactly the same as the time in the box, meaning that the car kind of in iRacing teleports back to pit road. So that could have been that 15 car of Frankenfield that delayed this caution. So we will be going back in green white checker conditions. So I think the next flag will call it here as we go to 2 laps to go.
Yep, there's going to be here 2 more laps in this one to decide it. Josh Adams, Tyler Fodey. If Adams goes early, will Fodey be able to get next to him into turn 1?
So here we go. Adams with that advantage. You look at Tyler Fodey. He's trying to think, can he go to the bottom? Does Fodey also use the bumper? You can see that 40 car trying to get to the inside line. He gets there. Tyler Fodey now with the preferred line off of 2.
There's the
and they are
caution.
spinning behind.
Oh no! And that's the race. Adams is going to win it. Fodey didn't have enough time.
I don't know. So the time and scoring says 3 laps to go. Do we know, James, is this going to be the green-white? No,
Yeah.
This is the green-white checker attempt. So we have one more green-white checker attempt.
Oh, wow.
Oh, all right. Let's take a look and see what happened further back in the pack that caused this caution and put us into green-white checkered situation. But Tyler Fodey now knows exactly what to do to get by Josh Adams, and Fodey probably kicking himself a little bit. That didn't stay green because he probably could have beat out Adams if they
It's
just
up
made
in
it
front
to the
of
next
Scott
corner.
Haney. I'm not sure why
Yeah.
we're watching Haney. That happened to Jeff Green right in front of
Yeah,
him
for
there.
some reason
Yep.
it showed Haney. Well, Haney's going to go around 2 just a little bit later, I think.
So Jeff Green, I think, gets loose off of 2, and that kind of starts this whole thing. There you see Zishan Dura gets caught up by Jeff Green spinning, then Dustin Dura gets involved there. I think we're going to see Scott Haney possibly spin as well. I think that's a little bit further. Oh, there you go. Yep. Oh, who is that, actually? That's not Scott Haney, I don't think, is it?
That's
It's
Haney
Scott
facing
Haney.
backwards.
Yeah, he did lose it, but bunch of cars around all over the place. Just like that, this race turns on its head once again. Tyler Fodey's got to be quicker, amazingly enough, to get to that race lead if he wants to win this race. He gave it his all right there, pushed underneath Josh Adams, gave it everything coming off 2. Caution's out before he can clear him for the lead, and that is what Adams is kind of have to banking on here, or kind of going to have to bank on, is that the caution flies before Tyler Fodey is able to go around him. I think if Fodey gets 2 clean laps, he'll be able to beat Adams. It's just a matter of whether or not he gets those laps.
Yeah, absolutely. This can end now. We thought that last one was the green-white checker, and I saw 2 to go, and I kind of immediately assumed that's green-white checker. But so we're basically adding these extra couple of laps here. Again, I mean, we have an issue like that where you do have a caution off of turn 2, and it's game over. You have that exact same reaction from us, where it is going to be Josh Adams as the victory. So Tyler Fodey has to act instantly on this restart. Man, it's so tough. The way we run these kind of green-white checkers, these NASCAR overtimes here in the Elite Racing Leagues, you only get 1 attempt. So whatever happens here, that's the end of the race. There really is no other shot for these guys to go after it. So for Josh Adams right now, you're basically hoping that everybody behind, or somebody in the back crashes out right on this initial restart, so that Tyler Fodey never even has a chance.
Yep, Fodey's got to get in before the back straightaway. I think that's what it's going to have to be. He's basically got to go as soon as the pace car goes and hope he doesn't get a black flag or something. That's when Adams has been going, is as soon as the pace car drops off. Fodey's just got to go and go hard. Mind games being played between the two leaders. Those guys are good friends off track. They run each other with respect, but you know, right now it's all about getting into that final race. This is what's creating that drama, is this playoff system. And if Fodey and Adams are going to bounce off of each other, and this will be the time for it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. This is where Tyler, if you're Tyler Fodey, you're thinking, you know, maybe now might be the time to use the bumper on that 40 car and say, all right, you know, we're fighting for a championship. You're a friend of mine. You know, we get along well, but at the end of the day here, you know, I want to put this 40 car in the final four. Yeah, that might be the move that we see from Tyler Fodey. What will Chuck Sweeting do? You know, Ethan Burrell, he's been winless for, you know, since we started commentating here in the Elite Racing Network. You know, at least in the Cup Series. So, I mean, so many guys who are desperate to just grab that victory. You know, we'll see how this pans out. Pace car is going to peel off, and we're about to go back for our final caution of the night. And it's another early jump for Josh Adams. What can Tyler Fodey do then?
He's going to jump to the inside again, and Adams is going to protect that bottom as best he can. He's going to wash up a little bit, though. Fodey not able to clear Burrell. The tires are running about 6th and 7th right now in Campbell and Weeks. Weeks is now 3 wide on the bottom. It feels like a caution's imminent. Tyler Fodey's got to do it now.
Tyler Fodey trying to see what he can do to get to the back of this number 95 car. We're coming over to 1 lap to go. The white flag is out. And right now, Tyler Fodey probably has more to worry about with Ethan Burrell trying to challenge in 3rd position rather than the lead with Josh Adams. If Adams can just keep that 95 car up against that yellow line, he should be able to keep it. The cars are spinning around in the back. Is the caution going to come out, though? We stay green right now.
Flag, it's over. The caution's out. The caution's never going to come out.
Caution's
it's all
still
about
not
this
out.
final corner.
Oh,
Weeks.
Tyler Fodey is going to get into the back of Josh Adams. He does send him up the racetrack. Tyler Fodey goes through on the bottom and wins here at New Hampshire.
What? Oh my goodness. Tyler Fodey used the bumper, and it's going to pay off. He's going to the championship race. What a move by Tyler Fodey. I wish Josh Adams had finished in the top 3 so we could have gotten an interview with him there. Oh, man.
Man, oh man, we got to watch the replay of this. See first what happened. First of all, massive shout out to iRacing for not throwing the caution there. I thought it was game over down the back straightaway. Race was over. Josh Adams won. But no, I mean, iRacing said...
throw the caution on the white flag. Once the white flag hits, no caution.
Well, there you go. I did not know that, but that's fantastic. So, yeah, there you go.
And Weeks wrecks it down the... That's a huge one, too. Chuck Sweeting isn't one of those involved.
Yeah, all chasers there. Or both chasers there involved in that wreck. I think Matthew Weeks is going to get a much bigger hit coming here.
I don't know. A player's going to go head on in the fence, too.
Ooh.
Big hit. Right back into Tyler Dixon. I think Dixon might save it. Nope. Harrison Talent's not going to get through that.
Oh, Chuck Sweeting, you see getting turned.
Yep.
Man, oh man.
We'll have to pull up the final results because the way this chaos hit, look at it, just carrying up the field. Dewar's going to take out Dixon down the back straightaway now.
Yeah, the way this sorts through, we'll wait and see as we get confirmation in terms of our top 10 right now. But it is celebration time for Tyler Fodey out on the racetrack.
We're going to need to go in and take probably a view of Fodey getting into Adams again as well.
Oh, 100%, because that is a huge... Man, wow. I mean, am I the only one thinking of, 2018, Joey Logano, Martin Truex Jr.? Race number 1 of the round before the Final Four?
At minimum, you know, the only difference there is that Tyler Fodey didn't, or Josh Adams didn't pass Tyler Fodey clean right before Fodey moved him. I mean, Fodey moves him for the win. He doesn't spin him out. Clean bump in the corner, shoots him up the track. The bump and run. I mean, that's just what it is. What a great move by Tyler Fodey to pick up the win. What a tough break for Josh Adams. He just needed the caution to come out on that first lap.
Yeah, and shout out to David Tooker as well for kind of sliding it through. Obviously, Josh Adams was severely disadvantaged getting sent up the racetrack there, but Tooker kind of slides it through and finishes just in front of Adams to grab a top 3 there. So look out for David Tooker in terms of where he's going to stand. And here we go. Here's your final results here at New Hampshire for the Miss Goody's Goodies 150 at New Hampshire Motor Speedway.
Josh Clark with a remarkable comeback to get up to 7th. He was had a miserable day. Chasers the first 5 of the first 6, and then you have Matthew Weeks in 11th, and then Chuck Sweeting, just a disappointing end. Oh man.
Yeah, that's certainly going to shake up the chase order, isn't it? And man, oh man, here we go. We keep scrolling down there. You see big names like Ryan Gavel down the order. We saw Chad Frankenfield, I think, even further down the order. Yeah, there you go. Chad Frankenfield down in 29th position. So, big names in the chase right now involved in major incidents here tonight. They're going to be set back into almost must-win situations, basically, over the course of the next 2 races. So, man, oh man, this is where things get very, very interesting.
Oh man, Ethan Burrell has jumped into the waiting room there. So let's go talk to our second place driver, Ethan Burrell. You got a copy, buddy?
Yeah, gotcha.
Ethan, talk us through that finish. What were you hoping that maybe Fodey got a little too much into Adams and then he slowed up a little for you?
Absolutely, yeah. I really wanted a couple restarts before that. I kind of wanted that to be the last one where I was kind of hounding Adams a little bit. But yeah, I mean, I expected it to get a little wild up there, and I knew Fodey had better tires, so I was just hoping that he might not have made that move as good as he did on the last turn there. But I mean, I'll take a solid day out of that.
Yeah, I mean, a great run for you, no matter what there, Ethan. Once again, another second place finish here in the Cup Series. But I mean, yeah, just talk us through the day as a whole and what it looked like just trying to get to the front, because we saw Josh Adams held the lead for a long time, but we had I want to say a long run, but a relatively long run compared to how things went today. You weren't quite able to get past that 95 car despite having 15 or so lap fresher tires. How important was track position?
Yeah, it was a big deal. Even with the tire advantage, I mean, all it really did for you was gave you the option to dive bomb it 3 wide into the corners. But I mean, the track position was huge, and yeah, I mean, it was quite the night. I'm not necessarily a big fan of this racetrack personally, but I mean, I had Gavel fly on top of me, and I absolutely. You see this, Vincent? I'm sorry about that, buddy. But yeah, I mean, we had our incidents, but just stuck it out, kept fighting.
Awesome, Ethan. Well, you got any shout outs for us here before we let you off?
Yeah, big shout out to Michael Goodman for throwing together the nice patriotic scheme for me, and Miss Goody's Goodies, and all the guys at Pro Edge Racing, and all my friends and family for tuning into these things. And came up 1 spot short, but we still got more races to go for the win here before the season's over.
I think you'll get it, man.
Thank you, man. Hopefully.
All right, Ethan Burrell. As always, thank you, Ethan.
Yeah, take it easy, guys.
Now we'll bring in Tyler Fodey, our race winner. Tyler Fodey, I saw that you decided to use the bumper, and that's probably the first time I've ever seen you win one like that.
Yeah, we're coming up with different ways, I guess. A little harder than I wanted to, honestly. I was hoping Josh and I would just race for first and second. And the restart before that, I moved him up about as much as I wanted to and was alongside, and another 10 feet, and we would have been in front when that last yellow came out. So I felt a little cheated by that, and I also felt pretty robbed the whole race, really, once the pit cycle started going through, just nonstop trying to drive back through the field, then having to pit, and it was just really was just kind of fed up with all that, to be honest, after starting up front, and I think between me and Rexing, the top 2 cars. So I just wanted to make sure I got it done there, but I'm going to have to talk to Josh afterwards. I really just wanted us to be first and second. I know he slipped to 4th, but I think he'll be okay with the points lead he had going in.
Tyler, I kind of wanted to ask you about the up and down day you had there in the car. Talk us through, I mean, when those cautions come out, what can you do as a driver? We saw you come down pit road at different times, try different things. Everybody's trying different strategies. I mean, can you figure out anything in your head when you're driving the car? Are you thinking, oh, yeah, this is the strategy that's going to get me to the front? Or is it really just a guessing game at this point at these types of racetracks where you don't know when that next caution is going to fly?
Well, it's always hard to predict when the cautions are going to come, but it definitely was a guessing game. And between all of us at Lake Norman, we were trying to plan ahead 2 and 3 cautions and trying to gauge how long each run would go, how much tire we would have worn off, and whether or not it's safe to come this time or the next. And once you do come in, you're either hoping for it to go long or have another couple quick restarts. It's just all over the place. And all of us were scratching our head all night trying to figure it out. And we had a shot there in the end to come through the field and took the opportunity to use it.
Tyler, I got 2 questions for you here. One is, are you at all concerned with Adams maybe using the bumper at Phoenix in a couple of weeks there for the championship? 2 being, that do you think that save in the middle of the race when Harrison Talon and a couple other guys crashed in front of you, do you think that maybe was like the race-winning move, and how'd you get through there?
To answer that second question, some of those times that was the whole big deal anyway. Going back there to take new tires was you were putting yourself at risk for all that nonsense, which is just kind of crazy to me how we still managed to wad them up that many times in a row at some of these tracks. But that, among some other dodges and saves, played a really big role in keeping the car clean. And as far as Phoenix, I mean, if it comes down just like tonight to the last corner, last lap for a championship, I'm totally fine with Josh moving me the same way. I don't know if I would have done it as hard or to anyone else. Josh and I have a lot of respect going way back, and he's one of the few drivers that I know can manage that and can save that. Because if he goes around, I'm probably getting an EOL. So knowing who you're racing really and all comes that plays a factor. But as far as Phoenix, I think we'll be okay.
All right. Well, Tyler. Obviously, the big thing is you're going on to fight for the championship in Phoenix. I mean, talk us through what these next 2 weeks now the plan is. You kind of sit back, relax a little bit, focus forward to the championship race, or are you still trying to, win everything that you get a chance to win here in the Elite Racing Leagues?
I mean, every week we're going out to try and win the thing. Now it's important to try and see if we can affect who the other people are going to be going into the last race. So, but yeah, as far as the next couple of weeks, we're going to be out there to win it.
All right, Tyler, you got any shout-outs for us before we let you go here?
Yeah, everyone at Lake Norman. Gavel was running pretty good there, but he got caught up in some stuff. So hopefully he can make up his points deficit. I'm not sure how much it's going to shake things up. Hank and Damien, again, were running really good. Damien got called, I guess, on a lane change, which I haven't gone back to see. But Hank also hanging in there, surviving. I think just missing a top 10. But, yeah, all of them. I got to thank Goodman and Miss Goody's Goodies for giving me the throwback scheme about an hour before the race. So happy to win in the Miss Goody's 150, I believe it is tonight. So that was pretty fitting. Shout out to you guys, too, for putting this on every week. I know you take time out of your nights to come do this, and it's always much appreciated. So thanks to that. And, yeah, next week we'll be back at it again.
All right, congratulations once again, Tyler Fodey, your race winner here tonight at New Hampshire.
Yep, thank you.
And now we'll grab 3rd place finisher David Tooker. And David, congratulations on the 3rd place run, man. Are you happy with that result, or were you kind of wishing for a little bit more?
Well, I think any racer obviously wants to go farther and farther up the grid, but considering how tough tonight's race was and the speed wasn't really there, I felt like all night long I was definitely about a 7th or 8th, 9th place car. But we had a good final few restarts and found ourselves in the top 5, and then was riding fifth until Fodey put on the textbook bump and run through 3 and 4. That was about as good as you can make it. But I think we just gotta take this and run. This was definitely my hardest track of this round, so I think with this good finish here, I'm hoping to maybe finish second or even win the next few races. But any of these races anything can happen. I feel like our cup strength of field is really, really picked up, especially in the playoffs. I feel like anybody inside the top 15 has a chance to win. So I think we're just going to take this momentum and see where it takes us.
All right. Well, yeah, David, I mean, you talked about it right there, and its momentum really has been working so well for you. We talked about it. You were victorious at Mid-Ohio, kind of got you into this round. You didn't really have to worry about the last two races. You now have 2 more races. Talk to us about what you're expecting in terms of Homestead Miami Speedway and Atlanta. Where do you think that 19 car, where do you think you're going to be the strongest here to get yourself into that Final Four? Do we have David Tucker? I think we might have lost David Tucker.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys can hear me, but I think I lost you guys.
Yep, we got David back
Green's
there.
my cue.
Yeah, we got you back there, David. Yeah, wanted to ask you, which of the racetracks? Oh,
He's gone again.
Keep losing him here. Some issues with Discord as we continue on.
All right, one more time here.
There we go. I'm not sure what happened there.
All right. Well, before you get disconnected again here, David, I wanted to ask which of the 2 racetracks are you looking forward to most in terms of Homestead and Atlanta to get yourself locked into that next
anything.
round?
Right. I only was able to hear Westergreen. That's all I can
hear. How about the next 2 races? If you can still hear me.
Yep, I got you. Honestly, I'm not even 100% sure what the next 2 races are, but I know they're at least ovals, so I got some work to do there. But like I said, I think tonight was definitely the toughest race of the round, and to come home with 3rd, I'm definitely happy with that. But I want nothing short of a win in these next 2 races and lock myself in for a potential championship fight. So I think, like I said, just gotta take this and see where it puts us next week. But I got my hopes high right now.
Yeah, the next 2 races are Homestead and Atlanta, David. But good work and definitely congratulations. Are there any shout outs you want to give here before we let you go?
Yeah, just I mention it every interview, it feels like, but just this Pro Edge team, as much as we want to see our teammates, or my teammates in this case, do really well, but I think with a mixture of that, we also want to beat each other in the process. And I think that's what a lot of teams are missing, is not only wanting to see your team do well, but wanting to beat the guy next to you and prove that you had the speed that week. Because it all comes down to who one-ups another and see where the speed's really at. But, I think just this season, I feel like has definitely been our most consistent season. I know we haven't really got the results that we've wanted to, and with the amount of wins that we have, but I think this season was nothing short of just taking it as it is and keep going week by week and see where we end up the next one. So, and I also want to give a shout out to everybody watching, all our fans. You guys make a lot possible for us and really give us the opportunity to showcase our skills out to the world and getting us more popular and popular as the races go on. And also want to thank you guys up in the booth for doing what you do and calling our races, because as much as a driver as I am, I'd hate to be stuck up in the booth knowing I could be out there. So I appreciate you guys doing what you do.
Absolutely, man. Congratulations again on the 3rd place finish here.
I don't know if you heard that, but yeah, thank you, David, and congratulations on 3rd.
Thank you.
Curious, David Tucker has Rish muted or something.
Must be, I guess. Yeah. Well, finishing up here, I mean, what a race. Obviously, you guys kind of covered the beginning of it there, but that final final 2/3 of the event that I was here to help you guys cover. Really intriguing in terms of how those cautions fell, how guys kind of moved up and forward and backwards throughout the order with pit stops, and of course that final kind of bump and run of Tyler Fodey getting past Josh Adams. Would have loved to talk to Josh Adams, in fourth place, get his thoughts, but I'd assume when the points come out, that 95 car will still be looking pretty strong in terms of getting himself into the Final Four in Phoenix.
You're in luck. The points are out. Josh Adams is the points leader by 14 over Gerald Campbell. Then 5 more back to David Tooker, who is 4th in points. And then Matthew Weeks is now first car out, 3 points behind his teammate David Tooker. So Jared Rexing, Chuck Sweeting, Ryan Gavel, and Chad Frankenfield all with some ground to make up. But the battle right now between Campbell, Tooker, and Weeks right on that bubble in that 3rd and 4th spot. Tyler Fodey is locked into the final round. Josh Adams has a 14-point lead. Other than that, I want to shout out Michael Goodman sent me a message, and Michael has talked about his little do-good grit. Michael Goodman was, I think, 4 or 5 or 6 laps down at one point in this race. He finished 14th.
Yeah, really impressive there. Michael Goodman, also teammate Dustin Dewar there in P15, so a good day for the do-good boys. Scott Haney up in 12th. So shout out to those guys as well. Just a really intriguing race. Once again, we head back to kind of more of a standard type of racetrack, or at least a standard size at 1.5 miles at Homestead Miami Speedway, though, of course, a pretty unique 1.5 miler intermediate racetrack next week. I'm looking forward to seeing that race. I know I personally will not be in the booth, unfortunately, but looking forward to watching you guys call it. Kind of close us out here. David, James, talk us through the race, what you guys thought tonight, and we'll kind of get ready to close things off here.
Oh, Rich, an absolute bloodbath here at New Hampshire Speedway. My replay button fingers are wore out from pulling those up all night, but overall, for the most part, everybody did their best to race clean. There wasn't any super aggressive bonsai moves. There was a hard-charging, textbook bump and runs. Overall, it was a really good race, and I think it's only going to get better as these guys keep progressing week in and week out.
Yep, we'll be ready for them the next couple of weeks. Bump and run has started. The drama is building, and it's only going to get more intense from here.
All right. Well, with that, then we're going to close things off here from New Hampshire Speedway. We are here, the Elite Racing Network, race number 1 of the 2nd round of the Elite Racing League's JoinAPS Cup Series 2021 A chase is done. Miss Goody's Goodies 150 here. Tyler Fodey, your victor, and going on to the championship 4. Join us next week for the race at Homestead Miami Speedway. But with that all being said, I've been Rishav Khosla, joined in the booth by David Westergreen, our producer James East, busy with those replays here tonight. Thank you all so much for watching. As